Hello. I don't think we ever discussed who's doing the intro. I
I
have
thought you
no
would just
idea.
go ahead and do it.
All right,
My
I'm gonna
bad.
just
I'm
do it.
gonna
All right,
first
ladies and
next.
gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Clownager Podcast. Today we're joined with, I guess, two of our regular co-hosts today. We're joined with my guy Free Gaming in the third, and of course my guy Ryzen. We gotta find him a couple of extra syllables to his name. But of course, we're here to talk about Boruto.
We're here to talk about Shueisha's effing us over and giving us a copyright strike on our last video, playing parts of an
Oh,
interview. That's what we're here to
it
talk
was
about.
it was because of
I
the
just
interview.
don't know. I never hopped
That's what
on.
I think it is.
That's
It's the only thing that lines up.
Mm-hmm. Lessons from showing panels, which I don't know because I haven't hopped on the PC to check it out. It won't show me in the mobile thing.
I feel like if it was the other ones, they just shut up. I don't want to think about that.
And well, that's a possibility as well. But I have heard that they have been like cracking down on the manga panels. That's why
I
Then
mean,
why
haven't
just that one though? Which is crazy because we show manga panels on every video.
my guy Ryzen wasn't trying to say that a couple seconds ago. But yeah, basically, I know. It could get spooky. Let's hope not. But yeah, I
Shit,
have
then we
heard
just
that.
won't show manga panels then.
We got one
What's
on the
the
screen
matter?
as we speak.
I know, right? As I just said. I figure it'll be a test
But hey,
run. I think I
for
heard an interview though.
for all our French people, they released Konoha Land. So congratulations, guys! You guys now officially have a Naruto Boruto theme park.
I looked in the
Yeah.
analytics and I don't think we have any French fans, just to let you know. But
Damn.
yeah,
Well, if anyone
French
wants to go to
fans.
France, you can go visit Konoha Land.
Yeah, probably go see
Bonjour.
Mbappe. I wouldn't mind. That'd be a fun little trip. I ain't gonna lie. I wonder like how advanced is it? Is there like a walkthrough of it?
Yes, but I'm also scared to show like a video of it. So I'll show
Yeah,
a
I
picture.
understand. I understand.
So you got your little Naruto Jirai statue, like your rides and stuff.
Dude,
I'm not
if
even
we
sure.
get copyright struck for showing a theme park, that's when I'm gonna stop talking about the series because that's insane.
Hey,
Here
bro,
it
you
is.
never know.
You got your little statues, your Hokage Mountain, some like Rasengan type ride. Basically,
That's
the leaf,
legit.
a smaller version of the leaf.
So
Yeah, you can tell how
I
low the
don't
Leafs
understand.
budget is with this. It's crazy.
That's like it's like Disney Channel without the actual costumes and people. It's
It's
more of
nothing like
statues.
Disney Channel.
I said Disney Channel. I meant like what is it called again?
Disneyland.
Oh no, this is a
Disneyland.
costume.
I said
Oh, this is a
Disney
costume.
Channel.
I'm pretty sure I saw a video of someone moving. This is a costume. Like those.
That's a
this,
costume?
Yes, this
No
was a
fucking way.
statue. This is a statue. This other thing is someone legitimately in a Naruto costume.
Oh
That nigga
no,
hot.
that's crazy.
He gotta be hot because I'm on my patio and I'm scorching right now. He has to be hot.
Well, France not really Arizona,
Yeah, you got a point there.
That's another
It's
thing.
not
Yeah,
supposed to be that hot here.
that's
Either.
actually crazy. I legit thought that was a statue.
I did too, but I saw a video of someone moving. They had a Sakura one who was also moving. I'd have to assume it's some dude in a costume.
Yes, an extremely. I wouldn't. Would I even call it realistic statue because it is an anime at the end of the day. Extremely anime
Manga
type
accurate.
costume. Yeah, manga accurate costume. Put it like that. If that's the case, I'm impressed. I'm impressed doubly. Well, it's not bad.
But
I'd be
yeah,
more impressed if it was makeup.
Yeah, that's almost impossible to get like a 1-to-1 makeup.
but
Almost
Naruto Boruto heavily popular in France. I can see why France gets stuff like this and not the US, especially when Kishimoto and Ikemoto did do the interview in France and did have a couple scenes in France, so it makes sense.
I did see like a list. I forgot the exact way the list was actually ordered, but I remember France being like super high on the countries that consume Naruto content.
Yes. I think they have 35 million lifetime Naruto sales and a couple million in Boruto. Boruto's really popular there. Funny enough.
Oh, I might have to tap into the French audience. Shit.
You know, it makes sense. It's been a minute since Kishimoto has been in the States. Why go to the States when you can go to France?
Yeah, 100%. I kind of get that. It is probably significantly closer than America. I'm about to lie. But I do. Do you think he, like, hypothetically in the future, would you see like a future like Masashi Kishimoto pop up at like an event, like an anime con or something like that?
I could see it. He did have one a couple years ago. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. It's just in my mind it makes sense. Like you have a ton of fans in France. You're gonna reward them by doing those showcases or those meetups or those interviews. Meanwhile, if the US is kind of falling off on like, especially since Boruto's like what's current, it makes sense to do it in a country where it's more popular, you know. Unfortunately for us, that's just France. No hate to France. It's just I wish there was something happening in the States.
Yeah,
Because we
100%.
got be more into American things like Marvel and DC. We
100%.
got
To be honest,
Our American heroes.
all I'm looking for, to be honest, is just a movie. Give me a movie, I'll shut up about all these extracurricular stuff. Yeah,
Oh, 100%. Drop us a movie and we're good. We'll call it even.
yeah, factos. Oh, days. So, where do we? I forgot that where we left off in the last podcast. I want to ask a couple more things, especially. Well, I don't know. We did plan a scripted video, so I don't want to get into too much stuff like discussing the scripted video activities. But hypothetically, for a character like Sarada, where I guess I could ask Free Game, where do you think she goes next after this? In the last chapter, she essentially potentially one of her eyeballs exploded. Like we're anticipating that she is probably done for this particular battle, but we're anticipating another power up in the future. What do you think, my guy? Free Game.
I mean, honestly, bro, I haven't really thought about it too hard though. But I mean, the only thing that we can see from her from here, I mean, as far as like the next couple chapters of her not being involved, it's the way to depower her. She's too powerful at this point in time. So you have to do something to get her out of the story. That's plausible.
Is she too powerful? This is kind of. I mean, people are now questioning if characters like Kawaki and Boruto could beat her. I mean, one of the things that I thought I believe would probably be like a hard counter to her abilities, Ohirame abilities, was essentially people being able to fly and going against gravity. But Mamushi in this particular, or in the last chapter, it seems like he was easily manipulated with Ohirome. And you could say, hey, maybe he was just like not smart enough to actually fly, or at least attempt to fly after he was actually yoked up by the jutsu. But like, I don't know.
See,
This,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
but at the same time, she can control gravity too. So if you fly away, she can just make the force of the gravity more, which will pull you back in no matter how fast you try to fly away.
but you know, gravity has really been interesting in the Naruto verse because unlike say Dragon Ball, where you can train to withstand gravity, gravity has been shown to affect everyone in the series, no matter their strength levels. I mean, even Kaguya was affected by gravity, and she was at that point in time, at the end of Naruto, the strongest person they've ever faced. So, like, if she's also falling down along with Naruto and Sasuke, it feels like no matter how strong you are, you just don't have resistance to gravity in that verse, which is really interesting now that I think about it.
And you notice, I don't want to be too specific and too particular, but it doesn't seem like Naruto characters strength train too much.
Yeah, it seems
As
like
much as
they
like
because they usually buff themselves up with chakra. So, like for example, Boruto, he could be as strong as can be. The second he's locked off his chakra, he's a regular dude. Which you know, going by when Ibiki threw him onto that desk, so it does feel like their base bodies aren't without chakra aren't really that strong. And I feel it does line up to an extent with other verses, like Goku. If he's not using his ki, he's relatively not that strong. So at the end of the day, it's all chakra manipulation and chakra control.
Mm. Yeah, I'll see what you mean.
But I feel like with what you said about Kawaki and Boruto, I feel like they have enough to where Ohi roommate doesn't really matter that much. With Boruto, as long as he can muster up enough strength to like focus, he can just teleport away. Even though I
Yeah,
don't like
boy,
defending Kawaki, Kawaki could probably just shrink them, shrink the orbs, or even just focus on moving his hand to absorb it with karma. So I feel like in the scenario of those two, they have enough skills to where Ohi roommate isn't necessarily a deal breaker for them.
Mm-hmm. I understand that. I just the idea of Sarada being able to manipulate freely anybody she wishes, like, and there being no counter to that is just still just crazy.
Which is really interesting because you'd have to think her abilities would get buffed in a hypothetical EMS situation, and the chakra drain would stop being a major factor. So I really wonder what they will do with Sarada's character, but also how will the power levels jump up from here if she's going to be in a position to where even with the EMS, she's not going to be able to end all the villains. You're going to need Kawaki, you're going to need Boruto, you're going to need these stronger characters to finish everything off. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Sarada grows from this, especially if she does have a secondary ability.
Yeah, I wish. It could be a certain it could be a certain situation where you know how they write in natural nerfs to abilities. It could be a thing where she just never naturally finds her EMS variant. So whenever she actually does try to use Ohirome, it's always like a chakra strain, so she can't really use that ability to like the fullest of its extent.
I feel like that could work, but then we'd have to figure out a secondary way for us to solve her blindness. Because what gets me concerned is Sasuke wholeheartedly believed in Sarada's Mangekyo ability. For him to believe in Sarada in general and believe that she could be useful to Boruto means he'd have to know that it was possible for her to fix her blindness. Because without it, she's only really good for 2 or 3 battles, which, as we've seen so far, she's rapidly hitting her limit. So I wonder what Sasuke's thought process is. And
I think it was more of like her feeling a way like so passionately that she awakened the EMS that he believed her or wanted to believe her. Like I don't think it was more of like, oh, she's awakened the EMS. It's a powerful ability type behind it. I must believe her. I think it was more of that because like Uchihas, their emotions is what triggers them. So it had to
oh
be
yes,
like
of
a
course,
strong emotion she was feeling that made him feel, yeah.
of course, 100%. It's just after that he still talked about how her ability would be useful. Let me see if I can find it. And then we also have Kashin Koji, who said that yeah, her Mangekyo needed to happen. It would be useful.
Oh yeah, I know Kashin Koji, but I was just talking about Sasuke. I don't remember him like specifically saying her
Yeah, hang
Mangekyo
on. Let
would
me
be useful or anything like that. But
let me
I
pull
believe
it up.
he mentioned it one time. Was
you
it
are
during
the
the
Boruto
flashback? Or,
Almanac,
Yeah,
so
it was
you
the
might be
flashback.
right.
It was the flashback, which I'm trying to pull
Mm.
up right now.
Oh, my bad. I'm eating like a 10-year-old right now. I just had a whole 5 packets of fruit snacks. My fault. So I'm in
All right, I
bugging out.
found it. It is chapter 21. Those eyes of hers will likely be a great help going forward, though it seems Sarada herself isn't aware that they've awakened, but she will realize it eventually, as well as intuitively come to understand her abilities and what she's capable of. You know, it's interesting. I never really thought about it, but he does say abilities, not ability. Do we count Ohirume's? Do we count Ohirume's? Uh,
How can he preemptively tell what her ability is going to be before she even awakened it, though? That's what's like,
I have no
Yo,
idea.
I
Is he
don't think he could.
overestimating her, or is he
yeah, that's what
just
I'm saying.
saying,
Like,
Yeah,
or is he
likely.
just saying that she'll probably awaken too?
I think he's likely just overestimating it. Like
Yeah.
again,
Oh,
yeah, because
plus, he
there's
could
no
be
possible.
counting. He could be counting Susanoo and like whatever weapon she gets. But it would be interesting
Could
if he
be.
just predicted, yeah, she'll awaken 2 abilities. I had 2 abilities. Itachi had 2 abilities. It kind of runs in the family. She'll probably get a second ability.
Bro, what if
Yeah,
she never
probably something like
awakens a
that.
Susanoo?
It-
Or what
I
if she
don't
just
think
they
she
just
needs
never
Susanoo.
they never show her using it? Like, nah, that's like, bro, you have to. If you're a Uchiha, you have to use the Susanoo at least one time. Especially if you get a Mangekyo. That's signature. That's just a flex as a Uchiha. Like, you don't even have to use the Susanoo for anything. It's just
You
a
know,
flex to have one.
I'm with Bara a bit that she doesn't really need it, but it can come in useful because she doesn't have to use the whole body of the Susanoo. She could always use the rib cage for defense, the arm and stuff. Because I feel like until we get a big opponent, a giant kaiju-sized opponent, giant forms aren't really efficient as we could
That's what I'm
just
saying.
as
It's just a flex, bro.
yeah,
It's
it's a
just the
flex.
fact that yeah, it's
It's
a flex. Like,
it's a
you
flex, but
guys can't do
I'm
this.
worrying
and
about like but
I guess she could use it as transportation if she really needed to, and just
yeah, I
transport
mean,
everyone who can't fly, like Sasuke did
true.
in the Gaiden. 'Cause she can
True.
fly in
Only way
her
she can.
base with her Mangekyo. So
Yeah, well, Hero, that's pretty much the only way, and that's hella chakra. So. But Susanoo is hella chakra.
and you know,
My thing,
I don't know, you can go, Bara. I was just gonna say
no,
my last point would be if she wanted to use the full Susanoo, it kind of makes sense for her to get the EMS because we saw Sasuke just struggle just to put on his Susanoo's
oh yeah,
cloak and stuff when you
100%.
get past the skeleton. So it's gonna be interesting to see if they don't do the EMS. How are they gonna work out the kinks of getting her MS to full power to where she can actually use it without fainting?
Yeah, Itachi couldn't even get he couldn't even get his full avatar with his Mangekyo Sharingan. I'm more thinking of like in big 2026, how effective would the Susanoo be? Because again, Ishiki, he's pretty much treating the Susanoo like it was nothing. Like, and that's Ishiki. Like now we're at Jura, now we're at Mamushi. Probably he probably has some trouble at this stage with Sasuke Susanoo, but you know, it just doesn't necessarily seem like it would be that effective against like the upper echelons of villains.
So you're saying the Shiki made, or not Shiki, Jigen made the Susanoo null and void?
Yeah. Well, characters stronger than him. It makes us faster and stronger. It makes us understand that the force that they can generate is essentially like it renders the Susanoo null and void.
Maybe this depends on the user of the Susanoo. Maybe hers is just significantly more durable than Sasuke's Susanoo. And it's like it's a lot of things that they can add to it.
I feel like it would just have to depend on power because Jigen was just so great physically that the Susanoo and the giant Kurama were more of a hindrance than a help. When they fought Momoshiki, they were fighting against this giant golem, which it made sense to use their forms to fight against a giant kaiju-sized being. But in these situations, it feels like using your base form or your base chakra cloak is more efficient because all you're really doing, if you're using a giant Susanoo, is making yourself a bigger target, and to an extent, you're kind of slowing yourself down, even though proportionally you might be just as fast or even faster. So I kind of agree that the Susanoo, as it stands right now, would be more niche. If Sarada's fighting a giant being, yes, pop off full Susanoo. But if she's fighting a human-sized individual, it makes more sense to instead of wasting that chakra to use a full Susanoo, to amp yourself in base, or just use the rib cage, or use the arm, or just acclimate your base body to parts of the Susanoo. In my opinion,
Yeah, be transformative with it.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
facts.
I guess you can, but I'm just questioning the defensive capabilities. Like even when Sasuke used partial of the Susanoo to protect Naruto's Nine Tails Bijou head, when Momoshiki was in base and he first attacked the Chunin exam during that
No,
standoff, like
you no 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 no. You had it
what?
right the first time. It's all good.
But yeah, during that standoff, Momoshiki was pretty much easily destroying, and this is based on Momoshiki, easily destroying the Susanoo. So it's like I don't know if just defensively, like let's say she pops up a rib cage against like let's say in the future she fights against um a Hidari. I almost forgot his name. She fights against Hidari and tries to use the Susanoo. I don't expect it to work at all against Hidari.
Bro, you know something I was just thinking right now has nothing to do with what you was just talking about. Not even gonna lie. But how do you guys think that Naruto and Sasuke would have did if Jigen didn't get juiced up by the Ten Tails? You think they would have been a little bit more evenly matched with them?
Yeah, I think they'd have won.
I think because Amado and Koji already did the calculations that it didn't really matter. I think he'd still be able to overwhelm them to a point where he's still where he maybe his body maybe fails earlier, but he still accomplishes his job. He still got Sasuke down. He still got Naruto down, even though he wasn't sure he could kill Naruto before his body breaks. If Naruto runs out of stamina, that's pretty much it. Sasuke was also down in like 2 hits. Maybe he takes a couple more hits, but I feel like Koji was hyping up Jigen so much in his head that I feel like there's no real difference other than Jigen having a bit more time and a bit of his body getting a crutch to fight them. That's my opinion. Because if it was a situation to where Amado and Koji thought they could kill Jigen, that just brings the risk of having Ishiki revive, and they didn't want that at that point.
I could see that. I wouldn't necessarily completely disagree with it. I just think from a different angle, I could see a scenario in which they essentially like beat Jigen, where both Naruto and Sasuke like almost like completely like finished, like they're completely exhausted, and they themselves are almost on their deathbed, and then Ishiki just comes and rises, and that's when Ishiki comes back. I wouldn't be surprised if that actually happened. The reason why I say I could see it, I do believe that the chakra from the Ten Tails might have boosted his speed and strength. And I think he 100% needed that in the battle against Naruto and Sasuke. There's a couple of times during that exchange where they almost got him. I remember one time, I guess I remember this more vividly from the anime. I'm not entirely sure if this is in the manga, but he was essentially they essentially almost cut his head off. Like it came very, very close.
And then he told them they would never get as lucky again.
Yeah,
as that.
Yeah, and I think without the chakra boost, maybe they could have, maybe not that attack, but they could have came with another combo attack to get him.
See, the way I compare it is when Momoshiki absorbed Nine Tails chakra. It stopped being Nine Tails chakra. All it really did was fill up Boruto's reserves because Boruto was running on empty. So would we consider that chakra still being Ten Tails chakra, or did he just convert it to fill up his reserves? Because that's what Momoshiki did with Karma.
That's specific.
Wait, what happened? I'm sorry, I accidentally kicked myself out.
Yeah, I was saying when Momoshiki absorbed Nine Tails chakra from Naruto to refill Boruto's reserves to beat Boruto.
Yeah, I think that
like, are you asking like did it give him an amp or did it just like?
I was saying because that
was that Nine Tails chakra.
Yeah, or did it just convert into Boruto's chakra to use?
Yeah, I would say it just converted into Boruto's chakra. It just refilled it back up. I get what you're saying. We're trying to go with that.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. I'd probably say that more because it was the Karma seal.
So you don't think him absorbing the Ten Tails chakra was an amp at all? It was just like him refilling some reserves.
I think he was just refilling his reserves and getting chakra to keep his body stable, because it feels like he did the same thing with Karma. Boruto did the same thing. Well, Momoshiki did the same thing with Karma, but even in other situations, would you call Boruto absorbing Mamoshi's fireball jutsu or whatever fire style jutsu he used as him getting an amp from Mamoshi's chakra, or just converting to his own chakra?
Boy,
let me bring up the panel of
him
absorbing the Ten Tails chakra. Let's see. It gets a panel before this.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would definitely go with the latter as well, though. That makes more sense.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that actually.
Because it feels like there's
Because
just so many people saying that Naruto and Sasuke wouldn't have that much of a chance. And it implies that Jigen has been doing this periodically. And if he was doing this periodically, that means he's been doing it not to really fight, but just to keep his body stable. Because what other situation would he have Ten Tails chakra to quote unquote boost him up if he's not fighting? Unless you want to argue that he might have scuffled with Damon, which would be funny.
yeah,
I don't know.
Which we all know how that would happen. Damon doesn't care about Jigen. But let's see. He does this. So he uses the karma. He says, "I'm sorry, but I need to take a little more again." He's absorbing Ten Tails chakra, and then the karma pattern is spreading. He's got similar powers to Boruto and the other kid, and this gets him to karma V2. So it feels like he's just refilling his reserves instead of more so getting an in, because it seems to be becoming his own chakra, like how Momoshiki did it with Naruto.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
you know, I get the statement with Kawaki saying, "Oh, this man might be even stronger than Naruto," but I have no reason to believe that Jigen would ever show his full power to Kawaki.
I don't think Kawaki knew what the fuck he was talking about.
Yeah,
either,
exactly.
Honestly.
I trust Amado and Koji's statements, and they say that yeah, even if Sasuke came to help him, this man has a very low chance of winning. Not impossible, but it's low.
When I say low chance don't mean no chance, brother.
So I would say it just got him up to full strength and got him up and running. That's my opinion on the topic. It might have made him a bit stronger. Like, you know, of course, you know, it would depend on if that chakra amount is more than what Jigen casually has. I think even without it though it's a slightly more struggle situation where the job still gets done. It's just maybe instead of him having 10% of chakra left or 10% of his strength left, maybe he's down to 5, maybe he's down to 4.
Yeah, he probably wanted to be able to fight him as long.
Yeah.
Were they discussing chakra when they talked about him being 10%?
Let me actually double check.
I could see a scenario in which he has all the chakra in the world, but his body's just breaking down.
Hey, is Bar trying to talk? Is Bar talking at all? Because if he is, I cannot hear him.
Oh yeah, he is. He has been.
Okay, let me get out real quick. I don't want to think bro think I'm trying to talk over him. I think it's just me. Hold on, let me get out. I'll be right back.
All right, here it is. You have almost 0 chakra left. It'll take 2 whole days to reach full tank again. It's a bad habit of mine. I got happy and let's see. Well, he says almost 0. I don't know where I got 10% from. I could have sworn.
No, I'm pretty sure it was 10% as well.
Maybe it was another translation.
Koji was harping on that 10% as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it might have been a later chapter, but for when he's talking about chakra, he says you have almost 0 chakra left. It'll take 2 whole days to reach full tank again. It's a bad habit of mine. I got happy and ended up getting carried away. So he's nearly 0. We'll use 10%, and they should reference 10% when Koji's fighting him. But he was at 10%, I guess, strength, chakra level, or whatever. He was low on chakra. So I would say.
Well, couldn't he just go to the 10 Tails dimension again and just absorb more chakra?
I would think it's because of his body then. Because if his body's continuously getting strained, maybe that's not just a good idea. Because then he would potentially weaken his body further, maybe?
Could be. Jigen was crying and everything like that, or the actual vessel.
Because if the chakra was just was a universal solution, he'd just continuously absorb it. It seems like a situation where his body is too strained, it is too taxed, that he has to wait for his body to recover. Let's see. This is when Momoshiki pops up. Let's see. Okay, Momoshiki says he has almost no chakra left. He goes to Naruto, absorbs chakra. Good, that should be sufficient. And then starts fighting again. So it feels like he just absorbed enough to get his reserves up and
Yeah,
running again, instead of getting amped by Tail Beast chakra. So if,
yeah,
in my opinion, it just feels like it's converting that chakra to his reserves to be used for a later point in time, or like what Sasuke did with Momoshiki after the Ishiki fight, where they had to get him to absorb a jutsu to refill Boruto's reserves to get him to wake up. So in my
mhm,
opinion, it just feels like they're just using that chakra to fill up their reserves, get their body up and running, instead of more so I'm gonna take this nine tails chakra, there's 10 9 tails or 10 tails chakra, and amp myself up with it.
yeah. I can see that. And if it was more like, I think Momoshiki, he has the ability to absorb chakra and actually utilize the kind of chakra
Yes,
more like
with his
Rinnegan.
Renegon. So
Mhm.
he could store the jutsus that he would absorb, and he also had the ability to make them stronger. So he could give them
Yeah,
a stronger output.
yeah. So yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
It's just in my mind, we haven't gotten a distinction of a weaker Jigen. It's just Jigen. So I feel like the power, if it's any power increase, it's negligible. He's still in the same tier of power, because then you'd have to make the difference and like, okay, which Jigen is Code stronger than? Oh, he's stronger than no Ten Tails chakra. But they always seem to reference Jigen as Jigen, and even Shikamaru says that I hear this code is stronger than the Jigen that fought Naruto and Sasuke.
Mm,
And I could be wrong 100%. It just it feels like the difference is negligible since we haven't really gotten that reference.
yeah, true, true. Uh, I've always been kind of confused as to why originally he went and actually did absorb the chakra, because he wasn't trying to fight Naruto and Sasuke. Like the first time he actually came into contact with Naruto, he just still in another dimension. Like he wasn't that wasn't his goal.
I
Okay.
guess to be prepared.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
or
Yeah,
but then
it came in
again,
handy.
space time ninjutsu does take a good amount of chakra. Maybe that could have been part of the reason to have enough chakra to make the trip and come back.
Yeah, true, true. Could be that.
And then even Koji says that the battle should have been over already when he was thinking it was just Naruto, and then he started thinking maybe Sasuke came, and he says, "Well, now they'd still have a small chance of winning." So it's really interesting to see how they talk about Jigen's strength level, because in Naruto's case specifically, he's just hard to put down. He can be beaten. You're gonna have a hard time killing him. Like, just look at when he was sealed away. He was unconscious. He still had chakra. Having stamina to fight and having chakra are two different things. You can be out of stamina, but still have a ton of chakra. You're just too tired to use it. So
Hmm.
if he was just being prepared to potentially fight Naruto, or just accounting for Naruto just in case he still tried to fight him while they were in that other dimension, maybe he absorbed the chakra just to be safe on the safe side.
Yeah, that's straight. You
Because
know the crazy, but
oh no, continue.
no, I don't want to change the topic too much. But the crazy thing is, I think Naruto and Sasuke, they're close to Jigen than, or no, they're farther away from Jigen than currently right now Kawaki and Boruto are to Jura. I think that power gap is way smaller, the Boruto and Jura one and Kawaki.
I could agree. I could agree with that 100%, especially because Kawaki, he's more like, as much as I like to clown on Kawaki, he's more consistent in his in his thought process. So if he says he can see a point to where Jura's power peaks out, I would say yeah, the gap's smaller, especially because they
Mm,
were able to damage Jura even though he wasn't fully going all out. Like, he did take some damage even Kawaki says he did get damaged. So I'd say yes. And part of it I feel like I've always felt this way. It's power comparison. He just had like so many abilities that completely negated Sasuke and Naruto's arsenal. Not saying they would win, but I feel like they would have had an easier, not an easier, a more less one sided fight if he wasn't shrinking everything or necessarily just absorbing everything.
Hey, how do you guys feel about this? Like as far as Jura, like you can't, like you see how in the first battle they was like kind of like 1-to-1 with him. What if he's like not the type of opponent that you can really fight twice? You see how he has like pretty much a photogenic memory. So like if he adapts to your fighting style, if he learns it, then he's deadlier the second time than the first time. That could probably be his niche.
Oh, 100%. And as a shinobi, you try not to use your jutsu too many times against one opponent because then they'll figure out its weakness. Look at even back in part 1 of Naruto during the Land of Waves arc. Once Zabuza saw how the Sharingan worked, he figured out all the tricks to it. So Kakashi was never going to use that hypnosis trick yet to catch Zabuza off guard. Just like how once Hidari saw how Uzuhiko worked, hypothetically he'd never give Boruto the chance to charge it up again. So it's a situation to where the more jutsu they use against Jura, the more likely he'll be able to make countermeasures, or at the very least pinpoint how that jutsu works and be able to guard against it or make countermeasures, just like how Sasuke tried to do with Jigen. Yeah, he almost immediately pinpointed how Jigen's ability worked, to where Jigen said, I gotta kill this man first because he's too smart for his own good.
All right.
100%. I'm trying to see specifically how that battle went. It was more taijutsu based, right? The Boruto and Kawaki versus Jura battle. Well,
Yes.
well, technically they didn't fight together, but
Kenjutsu with Boruto, and then I forget what the jutsu style with the bow staff is. Okujutsu, I forget, but yeah, it was mostly taijutsu and then weapons.
yeah, I think if it's mostly that, then they shouldn't necessarily have that much of a problem like replicating that. I could see if it was more jutsus, but I get like maybe if there's like a super specific taijutsu type, like like Kentetsu or something like that, that now you could pretty much, or Gentle Fist, that now you can pretty much learn and adapt to. But if it's just regular, just straight up taijutsu, I'm not entirely sure if you
Certain
could, like,
people have their like own signature to their fighting style though. Like you can be a person that like unconscious or subconsciously, you every time you throw 2 left punches you throw a right. So like after the second left punch you're going to throw a right every time. Like it's just like certain little ticks and stuff like that you can learn about a person, that you can really figure them out on their fighting style.
I can see it.
And I feel like they also have to consider that he can regenerate. So I wonder how they will approach that, because it seems
Is
like
that
he can call upon
infinitely as well too though? Like
I'm not 100% sure. It might be though, because it seems like he can call upon those roots at any point in time. So I wonder how they're gonna potentially get around that. Will they have to kill Jura in one fell move, or will they have to do something about whatever tree or whatever root system is under the planet?
Yeah, again, this might be my hottest take yet, but I think they already have the firepower to beat him. They just need to figure out how to get around that wood style. Like as soon as they do that, like I think they can
pause.
pretty much pack Jira up. Yeah, big pause. Like the combo. Here's how crazy it is. Again, Boruto and Kawaki didn't even fight together once, and they did that much damage to Jura. I think hypothetically, if they actually fought together and did combo attacks and things like that, and don't even get me started about the karmas resonating off each other. Oh my, don't get me salivating. But of course, they'd be able to overpower him. And to be honest, it depends on how far we think like Sarada, the Himawaris, and the Daemons, like a 2-man combo, those two might be able to push Jura to some levels. Like I hang on, and especially all three of them, I think they might be able to actually flat out beat Jura. So like if we find out a way to get past the wood style, I think after that we should be good.
See, I think the problem is, and it always ruins our fun discussions. It's Koji, because it feels like every time we think of something, oh, because Koji hasn't said it yet, that means there's still something more to Jura. Because right now we have Karma Boruto, Karma Kawaki, and Damon, and even that's supposedly not enough to fight Jura right now, because Koji still thinks it's not the right time, and he still thinks we don't have a chance against Jura. So I feel like there has to be something more to Jura, because if not, why aren't we sending these three powerhouses and then send Sarada on the side to fight Jura if Koji didn't think they had a good chance of winning. So it feels like there's something preventing them from winning. Either Jura's just hiding a lot more power than we even saw, or there's a trick to specifically beating Jura to where he doesn't come back.
I have no idea. You're right. You're speaking a lot of sense, but the only thing I could possibly see again is just the wood style. There's something that's like keeping Kashin Koji up at night that he just can't figure out about the wood
And that
style.
works.
You know,
And
yeah,
that
it
works
works.
100% because it could just be a regeneration thing, similar to Mamushi. If Jura's always gonna regenerate, you're eventually gonna get weaker. Kawaki's eventually gonna burn himself out. Sarada's gonna run out of chakra. Boruto's gonna run out of chakra. So it could literally just be that root system that's causing the problem. Like you're not strong enough to take down Jura in one go, so you're gonna end up in an infinite loop of Jura just regenerating or hiding in the claw marks and then coming back like what Hidari was doing.
True. The fact that we haven't that they haven't discussed much about it is, I don't know, it's kind of confusing. The fact that Kashin Koji didn't talk about it yet, it leads me to believe that there's a possibility that they might find out about it on their own and come up with a way to actually beat it on their own, and Kashin Koji just wants to like influence them to actually have that outcome be the case. But like they just haven't discussed it at all ever since it popped up and saved Jura. They haven't discussed it at all.
I mean, we did get inklings of it because Matsuru was able to use it to gather info. Supposedly, we don't know how she did it, but she was able to talk to like the trees and the roots. And then in something like Amado's case, I think he did briefly reference it. I don't remember specifically what he said, but we can just pull it up right here somewhere. Damn, where's Kawaki? I don't remember what specifically that chapter was.
So you're saying that Amado, he kind
Oh, here it
of
is.
ruins it for like our theories and stuff?
Koji kind of does because we don't know what
not Amado, wrong
we
person.
don't
Yeah,
fully know
Koji.
what Koji's thinking. It's just in my mind, if the good future could happen right now, he would have done it. So there has to be some reason why he's not doing it. Either it's too early and Jura has something going on that we can't handle right now, or if you try to kill Jura now, something worse happens. So it feels like something's missing. That's my issue, because we have Damon, who's crazy strong. You have Boruto, who just leveled up. You have Kawaki, who, even though he has a stamina issue, is still strong. And even that is supposedly not enough to deal with Jura, unless the main reason is we gotta pick off all these divine trees so you can fight Jura alone. That could also be something. Like, oh yeah, if you fight Jura now, Mamushi will just pop up and spawn 1,000 clones. Or if you fight them now, Hidari's gonna come here and just start picking you off. So it could be a crazy ton of reasons. It just feels like right now they're still not ready and something is missing before they could actually fight Jura. Ah, here it is. I found it. Okay. Kawaki says, well, anything at all. Amado says his expression is hard to read, but it does seem like he took damage. and that tree he's growing, it's almost definitely the same divine tree that he's composed of. So it's like a symbiotic relationship. That's part of himself that he seemingly can call upon and just heal himself with it. Unlike the divine trees, who you got to bring their thorn soul, or you got to go to that Ten Tails dimension and actually get hooked up to that tree to get healed. And he
I
says,
didn't watch Venom. I wouldn't know what the hell a symbiotic relationship is. Thank you. Thank you, Marvel.
so it's like, oh, no, you can go, Bara.
What I was about to say, Kashin Koji knows how they could kill Jura because he already seen the future in which they did. So they have to figure out some sort of way to mitigate that wood style. So he likely already knows. And now that I see them actually discussing it, it makes me more confident in the fact that he's probably just waiting for them to figure it out on their own. Because he talks about how once he sees things that are like kind of good news, quote unquote, he likes to not talk about it, and he tries to talk about the things that he wants to prevent.
Yeah, so we also got to remember that battle-wise, he's kind of running in blind. He can't really decide the course of a battle. He can only really give them information and hope someone like Boruto or Shikamaru make the right choices. That's why Ada was so useful in the Sand arc, because she could give him like play-by-play updates, minuscule second updates, so he could actually pinpoint what timeline they were following in that instance. In this case, it's a bit different to where he has to make long-term plans and he has to get closer to that future, especially when the future starts changing and he has to get updates. If he doesn't get an update, he's kind of flying blind. Like right now, in the latest chapter, we don't even know if everything's going to Koji's plan or he's getting another update because he doesn't seem freaked out. So it could just be that he needed Sarada to collapse and he needed this to happen. He actually purposely didn't tell them to get him to 1,000 clones because then they would do something wrong. Or if he's now getting another update of the 10 directions and seeing that there's still a possible way to get out of this.
Now his last update was he's pretty much looking at this particular situation. That was when he's seen Ada get turned into a tree. Did that happen before or after Kawaki got his power up?
It happened
I believe
after.
That was
so he got the update.
He
got the update when Kawaki was showing up. So he saw what happened with Kawaki. He saw Himawari and Ada die. He saw Inojin. He saw Sarada potentially fighting Hidari. So he did get a good chunk of different futures and like different things that could happen. So I wonder if this is still going to plan with that update. Like, was this supposed to happen? Is this his actual plan? Or because he already made changes? Because, Inojin was in that battlefield in his premonition. Things have changed enough that he might get another update. So I feel like we would have to see what Koji's reaction is in the next chapter, because this could be a whole thing he planned out and just say, you know what? Sarada's going to be in danger. I wasn't going to tell Boruto because Boruto wouldn't listen to the plan. Or it's just something that he has to take into account and make changes for.
I've always wanted this thing to kind of feel more like a training arc, like more of like what the Sarada Sand mission was. Where I've always thought that right there specifically, especially in Kashin Koji's point of view, he wanted that mission or that arc to finish with one of the characters getting a power up. I wanted that to be this arc, or I want it to be this arc with Himawari, but because we already got to see the flash forward scene, like we realized, this is a legitimate dilemma that we're facing right here. Like there's a future where Ada's gone, Himawari's gone.
But low-key, this could be the Himawari situation, because now Kawaki's gone. Sarada's gone. The only person who's still there with a wide range of attack power is Himawari. She's really the only one who can get Boruto to snap out of it. Because right now, Boruto is mentally nerfed. Damon's not going to go anywhere out of the vicinity of Ada. Damon doesn't care. Like, If they get close to Ada, he'll kill them. He's not going to go out of his way to go and fight these 1,000 Mamushis because the second he slips up, it is going to get devoured. So there's a real shot that Himawari can start tapping into more of Kurama's power in the next chapter or two, because unfortunately Himawari is kind of bottlenecked. We got to remember what was Koji's warning for Himawari. She cannot leave the village under any circumstances. So the fact that this battle is happening in the village, or at the very least in the vicinity of the village, is giving Himawari the rare opportunity of actually being able to fight. Because if, for example, the Hidari mission takes place away from the village, you're kind of writing Himawari out of the story until the end, until the point where we have to fight Jura. So this makes a decent amount of sense to have her actually learn to control her powers more, because it's one of the few chances of fighting happening in the village again.
Yeah, 100%. To be honest, I really want this right here. Well, I do want this right here to be like the start of an impeccable duo between Damon and Himawari. We all understand that at this particular point, one of the only ways that she could probably train is probably with Damon inside the Hidden Leaf Village to probably like not unintentionally hurt one of Team 7 or something. I mean, one of the Team 10 members or something like that. But also the fact that Damon was the first person to actually realize that Himawari had this power. Like, he was the first person who noticed it. And I think this right here, like being a battle where they actually fight together, I think that could be a super entertaining like thing.
And I agree 100%. And think about it this way. Damon's on the battlefield right now. Think of the payoff if Himawari manages to tap into her full potential, if even briefly, in this fight. You'll get a Damon moment where he's thinking like, yeah, I was right. I did sense something crazy. And she's using that power right now. It also works because at the end of the day, she's Boruto's sister. Even if Boruto's freaking out at Sarada, if Himawari is in danger, he'll snap out of it. Himawari was stated to die in this arc. So Boruto has incentive to buckle up and go back to business, go back to fighting. It also gives the potential of finally getting a discussion between Himawari and Boruto. Because up until now, we haven't really gotten any talks. Most of the time that Boruto's even been there, she's either been unconscious or she's barely been able to get a word in before stuff happens. So it would be the perfect chance to actually start getting those siblings back together and start to make a connection. Show us if Kurama's immune to omnipotence or if he just wasn't affected, and show us where Himawari goes from there, because she wants to help her brothers. She wants to help her family, but she still knows nothing about the situation. So this could be the perfect chance to start getting her on that path. Because if she doesn't do it in this arc, what real other arc does she have other than Jura? The only real connection she has is Jura, other than this arc. So I feel like we have to start getting Himawari up to speed.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Now, speaking of the next steps for Himawari, again, I honestly feel like I'm in the minority of this, because not only you guys, but I talked to a bunch of other people as well. They just don't believe she's going to get like a chakra mode or anything like that.
I believe that. I believe she will. I believe she will.
You think she will? Is this a change?
She will. No, this was never a change. I've always said she'll get a chakra mode.
Oh, so like a KCM too, you believe?
Yes.
I think this is a change as well, Bar. I remember him saying that she wouldn't get one too.
Oh, no, I did say she would. I did.
Maybe we remember wrong. I don't know what. So
I've never changed my point.
I think he's changing his point right now, bro. To be more to be more 2026, bro. I don't know.
No, I'm not. I've always been in the circumstances that Kurama's chakra is different enough from her to where it's still her having tailed beast power. She might not be a quote unquote standard Jinchuriki. At the end of the day, though, she's still a human. She's just closer to a tailed beast. But she's still a flesh and blood human being. She can still die, as shown by Koji's prescience. And I've always said that the little fan art drawing that Kishimoto did for Boruto, it is going to be used for Himawari instead. And so I've always been under the case that she's going to have a chakra cloak.
So she's going to like a little demon?
more like the yellow mode that Naruto had. Because she does seem affected by tail beast chakra. She is in her initial state. If it was just her chakra, if Himawari was just composed of Nine Tails chakra, it would just be Himawari. Kurama makes the distinction that this is my chakra you're resonating with, not our chakra, not your chakra. You might be different from a Jinchuriki. You might be closer to a tailed beast, but there's still enough of a distinction to where no, you're not immortal. No, you're not going to resurrect. That's still me. You're just a new symbiotic person with a tailed beast. So that's my point of view on it. I think she'll still have she'll basically get everything Naruto did, but just better because she has that better resonance. She has that better compatibility. I always thought she would have a chakra cloak, a full manifestation. She's not like she's still human at the end of the day, and the distinction is made
because every time like Naruto's tapping into like tail beast chakra, he always got some type of cloak or energy surrounding. I don't know, cloak, whatever. Yeah, even when, like
the chakra mode. Chakra mode.
Yeah.
She's gonna get a chakra mode.
But she doesn't though. Like even like she's tapping into Kurama's power, and she doesn't have any type of chakra cloak or anything like that. It just,
I see that as just
manipulating her
initial
hair
state because Naruto has done that before, where he just tapped into the initial state.
Yeah, but he still had some. Well, I guess he just had the eyes or some shit like that, but I don't know.
Because but think about it this way: what does Himawari have when she taps into that state? She has the eyes.
Yeah, she has the
whiskers,
change, in appearance,
and she has the more defined whiskers.
Yeah.
What does Naruto have when he taps into the initial state? The same thing. So we have this. You know, her whiskers got more defined. She got the fangs. She got the little eyeshadow thingy in the eyes. Naruto gets the same thing, and I feel like yes, we can make the distinction that she's better. She's better than a Jinchuriki. She's better than Naruto. She's closer to a tailed beast, but at the end of the day, she's still mostly human. She's just something new in concerning of how a human interacts with a tailed beast. There's still a distinction to where she still has her own chakra. She still has her flesh and blood. She can still die. So I think she will get a chakra mode. And I've said this before. I said this actually the day the chapter came out, that the little fan art thing that Kishimoto did for Boruto, everything he drew there would just be transferred to Himawari because we got the Mangekyo Sharingan design from that fan art. So it makes sense for Himawari.
I really don't think the fan art is going to be 1-to-1. Well, not the fan art. I'm sorry. I don't think that art that he made, I think that was just like a concept. I don't think he's going to go 1-to-1 with it all the way.
Maybe not 1-to-1. I still think, she has the Byakugan. She has Kurama. It would be there would be a decent chance of her getting a cloak because we have Mitsuki in the Sage mode. We have Sarada having the exact same Ohirume Mangekyo design. And then we have Boruto with a dual Byakugan and a chakra mode. So I think there's a good chance that Himawari will just get a chakra mode.
Well, another question I did have. Well, I don't want to stray too much away from Himawari because I did have more points about Himawari. But do we think it's possible that Boruto has another half of Karma, but he's being covert like how he was earlier in Himawari?
Nah.
In my opinion, even if he did have a sliver of Kurama's chakra, and even if it didn't disappear with all like the Momoshiki stuff, wouldn't it disappear when he died? Because he did die. Even if it was for a couple minutes, he was still dead. So I feel like that sliver of chakra would just dissipate at that point and reappear in Himawari.
I don't technically, and then it seems like even if you have like a sliver of chakra, he has some type of consciousness in your psyche, and it seems like it's all Momoshiki. There's no
because him having the whiskers means he was influenced by Kurama, but the sliver could have disappeared because of the karma, and even if he did it, he still died.
Well, did Boruto die, or did Momoshiki save him before he died?
It was a resurrection, so he was dead for a couple seconds or minutes, and then he was resurrected. Let me pull up the.
Yeah, you gotta die to be resurrected.
So if he died, that chakra should have dissipated. To be honest, if it didn't already because of karma. So either way.
But I thought I remembered it as Momoshiki just filling in some organs and stuff, making sure that his body didn't completely die.
Let me pull it up. Okay, here it is. chapter 67. So Boruto's dead. Like, Naruto's not seeing a pulse. And then Boruto wakes up. Who was killed? That's rude writing me off like that. Hey, what the heck's going on? Momoshiki says, the loss of my vessel will result in my soul's instant extinguishment, just like in Ishiki's case. In addition to being a receptacle for one's soul, a vessel also serves as its anchor to the world of the living. You're my soul priceless vessel. I can't afford to lose you for my own sake. The wounds heal. What did you do? Part of your heart and lungs were destroyed, and you lost a large amount of blood. Oh, okay. Wait. Nah, Bara's right. You would have died, of course, had I not interfered.
Mm-hmm.
I resuscitated you. Okay, so it seems like his heart stopped, but he was still tethered. He was still,
Yeah.
not fully passed on. Okay, yeah. It checks out. So I guess if he didn't lose that spec during whatever the karma's been doing, then he might have a spec possibly, or a sliver. I think it might have gotten just removed because of Momoshiki, but it's possible if he didn't die.
I just don't think he ever had it.
Yeah, the most likely scenario is that he doesn't have like a sliver of karma chakra, but I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Karma just being covert until he actually needs it.
I feel like it's more so a situation to where even if Boruto did have it, he would have just revived in Himawari and not split himself, because Kurama splitting himself was a special circumstance of the Reaper Death Seal. It split him into Yang and Yin. Then after Naruto recombined him, he became a complete tailed beast again. So I don't see why he would have revived being split. I think if he did have it, he just went to Himawari and then just popped up.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I feel like even if he does still have a sliver, it would just be a sliver to where possibly Kurama could connect with him or possibly view his memories or whatever. But I think for the most part, Kurama is just in Himawari right now. Like
you don't want to make Boruto too much like Minato now.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much. Hey, real quick, shout out to Mike C. 955. He's been a member for almost a year now. That's crazy. But Antonio Bookman, he shot us a $2 donation. He said, could Sarada going down trigger a Jogan reveal?
I'd say that's possible. With the Jogan, we haven't really gotten any crumbs in the manga, unfortunately. Yeah. I'd say anything is possible with the Jogan. Like, I still believe it exists. I still believe the Jogan was in the flash forward. The question is, how will he awaken it? Of course, we've seen Boruto using the Byakugan right now. I firmly believe we'll get into a situation where Boruto starts using his own power instead of Momoshiki's eyes, and that's how we'll get the Jogan. It could be Sarada, it could be Himawari, hell, it could even be Sumire because of the new way stuff in the anime, which in turn gave us the Jogan. So it could really be anything. I wouldn't write down Sarada, especially we've seen how overprotective Boruto is to Sarada. We've seen him make the promise to Sasuke. So maybe down the line he could awaken the Jogan because of Sarada. We just have to wait and see what Kishimoto does about it, because it feels like we've had questions on that eye for a decade, and it has been almost a decade. So
yeah, 100%. The only thing I would say is that we've never really seen the Jogan like unlock off of like emotion or anything like that. That's the only thing I would say against it. I mean, remember the times that we did see it, it was just reacting to like negative energy and things like that. And of course, one time when Toneri came in his dreams, that it came out.
And then and Urashiki, which was like a need. He needed that power.
Oh yeah,
to counter Urashiki.
That as well. Plus, it popped up against Momoshiki as well.
And then we still don't really know exactly what powers it gives us. So far, it seems to give you whatever power you need for that situation. Yeah, so 100%. We know it can sense negative chakra. We know it can with the Urashiki thing. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was able to see where Urashiki would pop up.
Yeah, time space and jutsu type of thing.
So it does have different abilities. We don't fully know the extent of the Drogon's power, or if
Plot armor
the abilities will
jutsu.
even exactly. It's the plot armor eye. It'll be whatever Boruto needs. So we don't fully know what the official power set will even be. So it's up in the air. That's what Ikamoto will decide. Like right now, we're unfortunately dealing with the Byakugan, which is really interesting because we know Boruto should have gotten the Byakugan in the initial drafts for Kishimoto. He just forgot. So why? That's why I don't think the Drogon has been removed, because why give Boruto just a single Byakugan when he was supposed to get two? Why not just keep the Drogon as a topic at that
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I wish. The only thing I would say is I wouldn't think this would be the battle in which
Yeah,
he'd essentially
100%.
need it. You know,
I feel like if the Drogon pops up, it has to have a catalyst. It has to be a situation where he's not under Momoshiki's thumb anymore. It has to be a situation where he's Boruto Uzumaki, where he's using his own power and not necessarily tapping into Momoshiki's Byakugan because of that deal. It has to be something with him finally being in full control of his body again.
I could see that. I could see that. I
That's
wasn't
my
gonna
opinion.
disagree. Yeah, I was going to disagree in a way, but you explained it differently. I thought you would. Yeah,
Because I feel like the Jogon doesn't work if Momoshiki's still a problem. Because now you're just potentially giving Momoshiki another weapon.
Well, a problem, yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, a problem. If Momoshiki is a problem, that'll be terrible. I'm thinking the way it could manifest is because it's more of a Boruto dojutsu. It wouldn't necessarily manifest in like the Borishiki form, where Momoshiki is taking over partial parts of his body.
Oh, 100%. I can see that too. 100%.
Mm.
Plus, I feel like because the Jogon is an Otsutsuki eye intrinsically, maybe we'll get it when Otsutsuki's become a main threat again. Not to say they aren't. Like the Ten Tails is a byproduct of Otsutsuki stuff, but it'd be kind of cool if the Drogon pops up when we need more Otsutsuki lore or more Otsutsuki action.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that's honestly likely. I mean, I've always said as soon as we see Toneri pop up in a manga, that's an immediate smoke signal for the Jogan.
Actually,
I don't think that
you reminded me. I've been meaning to ask this question. What do we think Toneri is doing? Because if we imply that the flashback arc happened, he's frozen on the moon. But if it didn't happen, what has Toneri been doing for all these years? Because he did say he was going to protect the Earth. So pick your poison. What has he been doing?
You mean like manga wise? Since we're not just calling that canon.
Yeah, because the flash forward scene could have happened in the manga. We just only saw the anime of it, and he could be 100% frozen on the moon. But let's say it didn't happen, and he's still moving.
Is Urashiki manga canon?
We've only seen him in the anime, so we know he was supposed to be in the movie, but he was cut out. So far he's only been in the anime. So either
maybe that never happened in the manga then.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting on. Either right. That happened off screen, manga wise, and he's frozen on the moon.
Is Toneri manga canon?
Wait, repeat what you said. I didn't hear you.
Is Toneri manga canon?
Yes, because Toneri is canon to Naruto.
Well, but to Boruto, is he? Because he's never shown up in Boruto.
I mean, he would still have to be on the moon.
Did he ever show up in the Naruto manga?
No.
Okay, so he might not be manga canon either.
But the thing is, the last still happened. That's the problem. Would you say Naruto's wedding isn't canon because it never happened?
Yeah, there's legit statements and stuff.
Yeah,
I hear what
so Toneri.
No, I hear what you're going.
So even if the anime stuff never happened in this manga timeline, Toneri, just by existing in Naruto, has to exist in Boruto. So either he's on the moon and just watching this play out like a soap opera and not doing anything, or he was sealed just like in the anime, or he got off-screened by something, and we'll have to find out later. It's like pick your poison, because Toneri isn't doing anything when he did say he was going to be like the Earth's guardian, he's going to watch over the planet. So what do we think he's doing?
Shit, what? Them times have passed, dog. And when he was talking about how he was going to be the Earth's guardian, like he was like Kage level, maybe. Like maybe you can maybe say he's up there, but we're way past Kage. Momoshiki done pulled up,
And hell,
Jigen
if you
done
think about
pulled
it,
up,
he's weaker
Jura done
because he
pulled
doesn't
up.
even have the eyes.
Yeah, like oh my god, yeah.
But the
It's
thing
over
is,
for Toneri.
he still offered to protect the Earth. The fact that he's silent is weird. Like I could give it a pass if they say, "Oh yeah, this Urasiki thing happened off screen. Go watch that." But yeah, he's been frozen on the moon. No one's checked up on the moon, so he's just frozen. Whatever. But if he's just chilling there and he has no like idea of what's going on, it feels weird to be honest. And we can make the argument that Ikamoto hasn't been using older characters, but at least for like the Rock Lees or the Chojis, you could make the argument that yeah, they don't mess with Boruto. Shikamaru is gonna purposely keep them away from the Mamushi stuff because they're gonna see Boruto and they're gonna attack on sight. But with Tonari, it's interesting because you'd think that the dude would do something if he's not sealed, especially because he did promise Hinata and Naruto, and he did do all these things. Unless he's just scared that Kawaki will hear his last name and try to kill him.
That's the thing as well, because let's be honest, Kawaki
That's
would
what it
destroy him.
is.
But I kind of see Toneri's more like a kami, like in Dragon Ball Z, like Guardian of the Earth. Well, not really. Like if Raditz and Nappa pull up, he's probably not going to be there. But if it's like General Tao or something, like he's probably there.
Okay, but at least Kami left a message. When Goku died, it was Kami who took his body to other worlds. So at least Kami leaves you a letter. At least he calls once in a while. Tonari's just been dead silent for 17 years if we go by just the manga.
True. My thing would probably be like realistically, I'd say his main function as of right now is likely going to be the Jogan. So like protecting Boruto's life would probably be the main thing. Even though I would also say, "What's up? Well, how are you just going to let Kawaki do that to Boruto?" But I get it.
Because the anime, other than like the Sarada and Sumire stuff, a lot of the stuff they made can be fixed. So like if you do a part 2 Boruto, you can just say Sarada got demoted from Chunin to Genin, and that's easily solved for the anime timeline. But depending on how they do Tonari, it's going to be really interesting. Because if they bring Tonari for the Jogan, like you said, if he does appear for Jogan stuff, and he hasn't been sealed, then you're going to have to do an episode or two dedicated to unsealing Tonari in the anime, unless they want to just break the whole timeline from part 1.
But you could though. That wouldn't necessarily be that difficult. Just having a series or an episode where you unseal Urashiki, not Urashiki Toneri. And to be honest, Urashiki himself might do it if he's not dead. And the theory about him leaving back a karma is actually true. Like hypothetically, if there's a situation where, let's say, even like let's just call it this arc right here, Jura is about to end the planet, and there's only one star of hope that could actually, beat Jura. And Urashiki understands that, and he thinks like, "Hey, maybe I have to free Toneri so he could actually activate Boruto's Jogan." That wouldn't necessarily be like a crazy scenario to have in the anime, I believe.
I agree.
But of course, you'd have to get Urashiki in this arc. That's probably like the only one.
I agree. Or hell, they could just have Boruto show up on the moon and use his karma to free him. Just like say, "Oh yeah, the karma can just free him," like what they did with Boruto. But I just could be really interesting to see if Ikamoto touches the Tonari situation, because if he never touches Tonari, that means he either A, he doesn't care anymore, or he's just sealed for 10,000 years and he didn't care enough to tell us, which is gonna be really funny if Boruto ends and we never get Tonari.
I can't see a future where he just doesn't address Urashiki. Like that'd be crazy.
Like it'll just be okay. Boruto ended, so if we go off the anime and if we use the anime for the manga, he's sealed for the next 10,000 years. So we'll see him in 10,000 years when they do another Naruto spin-off about the descendant of Naruto.
I mean, do I see him potentially introducing the Jogan and just leaving Toneri out and just having us believe he's just sealed? And that's possible, but like
because if we remember, Kishimoto did have he did have his hands in that storyline. Like he made specific changes for those episodes. So it'd be really weird if it wasn't at the very least a conversation to Ikamoto that maybe put Toneri in at some point or just explain something. And Ikamoto's been cooking. I'm not gonna say for him to do it right now, but it's getting to a point where I wonder what Toneri's been doing. Like it's been years and he still hasn't sent even a text or a call or a letter.
Well, I think eventually it's gonna come to a situation where what you explained a little bit earlier, where you said, hey, in an Otsutsuki themed arc, I think that's when we could possibly assume Toneri could possibly come back. Then we potentially see the Jogan. I mean, Toneri essentially set it up right before he got sealed. He said that the Jogan is now going to be dormant for a very long time. I think the quote unquote very long time could just be essentially the time when he's sealed, and then potentially when he actually is needed or when the Jogan is actually needed, that's when he'll probably come back. So in a potential future Otsutsuki arc, I could 100% see that.
I agree. And it would be weird for the Drogon to get scrapped when the last episode of the anime did show us the Drogon. And you'd think if that was a dead end and that was a scrapped plotline, they would tell the anime staff, can you just stop referencing the Drogon? But they specifically referenced the Drogon. So I feel like it just has to happen.
Yeah, 100%. I think so too. And every time I think about a potential Boruto power up, I always got to think about a potential Kawaki power up. And I understand it's not necessarily going to always be that, hey, Naruto and Sasuke weren't actually equal at the end of Naruto Shippuden. We understand that. But if the Jogan is what it's supposed to be, like I think Kawaki would absolutely need like not necessarily an equivalent power, but a different power up to also match that.
I feel like in Kawaki's case, it would just have to be pure strength because he already has his fancy eye. Like the Kokugan is, let's be honest, I feel like it's better than the Byakugan. So I feel like the Jogan's. I feel like, So I feel like the Jogan is what equalizes their dojutsu because you have Kawaki already rocking the Kokugan. I feel like in Kawaki's case, he'll just get more pure power to supplement his dojutsu.
Well, so is that the name of it? The Kokugan?
Yes.
Are we rolling with that now? Oh, okay.
It's the black eye. So you got the black eye. So Kokugan is called like the black eye. Byakugan is the white eye, and then the Drogon is the pure eye. So Himawari would have the white eye, Kawaki would have the black eye, and then in the middle would be Boruto with the pure eye.
I see it. Not bad.
I don't know why that sounds super racist to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, because he already has a Kokugan, I mean, this could be it. It could just be specific Shinjutsus that they eventually learn down the line. Because I think eventually they're not necessarily just gonna, or eventually they won't just stick to ninjutsus. They're gonna eventually learn some divine arts, and once that's the case, I think it's just about specifically how they work in battle versus the other characters.
100%. And funny enough, Kawaki has a decent chunk of Shinjutsu. Like the only person out of that Karma trio without a Shinjutsu is Boruto himself. Funny enough.
Matter of fact, we can't call Flying Rising. You gotta do hand sounds for that. Plus, it's actually
it's still at the end of the day, it's still space time ninjutsu. Like all he's using is the basic Otsutsuki teleportation ability. So that's like flight. In Kote's case, he has his claw mark Shinjutsu. In Kawaki's case, he has Suka Hikono Daikokuten. And then if he gets Shibai cells, maybe another Shinjutsu. So Boruto's the only one out of that trio who doesn't have a single Shinjutsu.
Yeah, 100%. So I think eventually, that's probably going to be what gets Kawaki up to those upper echelons. And everyone always I feel like they've already given up on Kawaki potentially learning brand new jutsus. I haven't. I haven't.
I feel like he can if it's a Shinjutsu. I don't think he'll be learning more ninjutsu, but if it's a Shinjutsu, then definitely.
I wouldn't rule out ninjutsus as well. I mean, one of the things that I thought was absolute BS once I actually did read it in the Boruto manga was Naruto essentially saying that Kawaki lost his master and he lost out on the ability to actually train, and that would have essentially been a substantial thing. Like, come on, what are we doing here? There's no amount of Rasengans that we get Kawaki to is going to get him up to what Boruto was at without him actually releasing the limiters.
Seemingly it was a possible circumstance. You know what? I kind of believe it because your master doesn't necessarily have to be stronger than you to bring out the best in you. I mean, just look at Dragon Ball. King Kai's whole goal was to get Goku to be stronger than him, and it worked out. Master Roshi is weaker than Goku by a crazy amount. He was still able to teach Goku some things. The Yardratians are weaker than Goku. They were still able to teach Goku some things, and even Vegeta some stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily rule it out. It would just be a situation where Naruto brings out the best in Kawaki, and then Naruto also has access to different jutsu scrolls as Hokage. So I would believe that he might be able to, he would have been able to whip Kawaki into shape at the very least within 3 years.
It define a whip into shape. I get what you mean. He could potentially learn a couple of smaller things, but I don't necessarily think he'd be able to make the jump from what he was at the start of TBV to like where he is now, let alone even Boruto, because that's a different story.
I feel like he'd at the very least be stronger than his limited form, and then whenever he gets his limiters removed, he'd just be stronger for it by having that training. So the way I would compare it is Piccolo. Piccolo was limited by being half of the nameless Namekian, but he still got stronger by training. And then when they inevitably refused again, it just made him even stronger. So I feel like it's not in the realm of possibility of Kawaki growing at a faster rate than what he did within the 3 years of just pure combat training with supposedly Mitsuki and maybe Delta.
Yeah, he would have gotten stronger. I don't necessarily know if he'd gotten up there. Now here's the thing. I think it is substantial in a way where if you pair that with Kashin Koji's training, I think that's where you get the significant improvements. And that's where I start to actually believe that what Boruto was saying wasn't BS. Because hypothetically, if Naruto spent 3 years teaching Kawaki a bunch of different jutsus and a bunch of different, even like let's say chakra natures, like I think just that the base of just those alone would probably give Kawaki a bunch of different possibilities and a bunch of different personalities for like let's say 30 years into the future. And Kashin Koji could just teach him all that in like let's say a weekend or so. I think that in itself.
And then there's always the Sage Mode option.
Oh yeah, that as well.
Sage mode would also give him a really good amp. Kawaki does have a lot of chakra, so the more chakra you have, the more time you can last in Sage mode. So it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. He would get another transformation, and then if you can stack on Sage mode with Karma, I could definitely see him getting to that level, even limited. Because then now you're going into Karma V1 with a hypothetical Sage mode, and then maybe even a hypothetical Karma V2. Throw in some Rasengans, and you got a stronger Naruto.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he is the Dark Naruto at the end of the day. So I wouldn't leave it at the realm of possibility that he would have gotten to a point where he'd be useful in battle, and then later on you can just amp him up by just removing his limiters. Of course, at that point, removing his limiters wouldn't be a problem because now he's had that physical training. Now he's potentially gotten his body to be stronger, especially with Sage Mode being able to make your body more durable. Pause. I would say Naruto would really had a good chance of getting Kawaki up to that level if Kawaki believed in ninja training, because ironically enough, ninja training seems to work better on Otsutsuki, or like just people with Otsutsuki derived abilities. It might not work for the Irukas. Like the Irukas might need a decade to be half competent, but someone like Kawaki would have really benefited from that type of training instead of just pure combat. Because pure combat has 100%. Its limits, especially when you're repeatedly sparring with weaker opponents. At some point, sparring with Mitsuki would have had lower and lower gains because Mitsuki's just weaker than Kawaki.
Yeah, 100%. And that I honestly feel like that could be how Kawaki actually does, improve at this particular point. I said a little bit earlier, people have essentially given up on Kawaki training at this particular point. But I think if he does think about it and actually really breaks it down and realizes, hey, I can't necessarily get stronger from just amping my physical stats, this would be like the next best way to actually get stronger. Now, I wouldn't necessarily think he's going to, unseal Naruto like what Boruto recommended. But I think he's probably gonna find a way to actually learn jutsus and then try to seek out Kashin Koji to have him
See, for the
train him
memes,
to
for the
figure out.
memes, he's back on his drug bins. He's just gotta find a new source. He's gonna wake up. He's gonna see Himawari with her nine-tailed shark. And say, "Hey, wait a minute, what's that power?" And watch him start
Yeah,
hunting down tailed beasts. Watch him say, "You know what? I'm gonna make my own chakra pills, like what Momoshiki did. I'm gonna upgrade my body. I'm just get the chakra pills."
but to be honest, that
He gonna get
honestly,
he gonna get a tail beast BBL. That's crazy.
if
Yo, the
there's a
tailed
way
beast
for
drugs from the novel, man.
yeah, crazy. But if there's a way for him to like potentially like learn, let's say, the gates, I feel like that'd probably be like the most Kawaki thing for him to
Ooh,
learn. Like,
but see, the problem with the gates is they put strain on your body. Could Kawaki's body is already weird. Would he be able to
yeah, it's already
handle
cooked.
the issue with the gates? Like Sage mode, it only helps your body, so you're good with Sage mode. With the gates, you're actively destroying your body.
He gonna overheat.
Yeah, like Kawaki's main issue is a stamina issue. With the gates, you're making him stronger, but at the end of the day, you're just shortening the amount of time he can output that amount of power. So he
Yeah,
either needs to
true.
make his body stronger or get a jutsu or a transformation that fixes his body's durability and stamina.
Bro, I was gonna say, or he gets a job. I was gonna say what? When you said jutsu, I don't know.
I'm
I
just
heard
gonna say
job at
it. I'm
first.
just gonna say it though. If he tries to get on another pill or another drug, it's gonna be it's gonna be
Yeah, I can't see that. I can't see that. As a Kawaki fan, I can't see that, dog.
third time's the
Yeah.
charm. If Amado can't give me a new power up, I'll go get a second opinion to Orochimaru or Katasuke or a tailed beast or whatever.
Hey, man. Hey, man. But to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say, the next thing he does, he might try to opt for a quick fix. Like, just because as of right now, we are in a precarious situation. Like, I don't think my guy Kawaki is going to go on like a month-long training arc in
Yeah, I
this
agree.
current situation. So, hypothetically, if, like, let's say in chapter 33 or 34, he tried to get a quick fix, I wouldn't blame him. I
Because
wouldn't blame him.
unless he's using shadow clone training, and he has to make a lot of shadow clones, I wouldn't even say he has a week to train. So, like Boruto said, that time has kind of passed. Unless he gets some hyperbolic time chamber or some shadow clone shenanigan plot, he does need a quick fix.
I
To an extent.
would say, I mean, yeah, for 100%, he needs that quick fix. But
And he goes to
in
the
a
Daikoku
situation,
dimension and train there. Like time doesn't exist there though, right? Time doesn't flow.
but
He
who's
can go
gonna
in there and
teach him?
train.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Drag somebody
who's
in
gonna?
there. What the fuck? Drag Kakashi. Somebody he grab somebody by the throat and bring him in there.
And
with
Kakashi's
him.
gonna see Naruto. Like, even if it, like Kawaki could negate time stopping for Kakashi, wouldn't Kakashi just see Naruto floating there and say, "Hey, Kawaki, what's this? Well, why do you have Naruto's quote unquote corpse?"
But if that's the case, he'd probably just train with Naruto. I understand that Naruto probably not
Hey
necessarily like
Kakashi,
current
mind your business.
situations.
Man, I can just see it now. Kawaki tells Naruto, "You're dreaming. Help me train. This is a dream. You're making up for some father-son training time or whatever."
I wish. But I don't necessarily think anybody would be able to move in that time space except for Kawaki.
Yeah, I agree. Like, even if he could, like, have them, even if he could give them the ability to move, it seems like time still passes on the outside, even while Kawaki's in.
Think so?
So that's how my mind perceived it. Like, when Kawaki was staring at Naruto, do we think time was passing on the outside, or was time just frozen? Like was he gone for like a millisecond? I feel like that would be the deciding factor. Is there time dilation,
Yeah.
or just
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
this time doesn't pass in this dimension. If I go to that dimension, time will still pass here. Because for example, when Naruto and Hinata are there, time still moved in the real world, but does time stop when the Jutsu caster goes there? Like, will time stop if Kawaki goes there? Is that different, or is it just the same? Like, yeah, even if I go into Daikokuten, time still passing on the outside. I think that's something we have to confirm, because that it feels like there is no time stop with him.
Yeah, I think the time wouldn't pass. I'd consider it more of like Kawaki, not necessarily time stopping. It's more like Kawaki leaving time, like Kawaki leaving the current fixture of time and going to another dimension where time doesn't exist.
So like if Kawaki went into Daikokuten, right, and it was for an hour our time, would an hour have passed in the leaf, or would he just reappear in the same second he disappeared?
I think he just reappear. Like, honestly,
That would be
matter of
interesting.
fact, I would, because I might change my mind, because like Ishiki actually had things in that dimension, and just because like things were in that dimension didn't necessarily mean that current time, wasn't happening. Like when he summoned that glass of wine, like maybe the
Yeah,
wine
one
was
hundred
still fresh
percent,
and pristine.
100%. My my
I
thing
changed
is
my mind.
though, we know that that things in Daikokuten, they're frozen in time, but time still moves for us, for that dimension, for
Mhm.
the Leafs dimension. The question though is, if the
Now that you put
Jutsu
it that
caster
way,
goes in
not
there, will time still pass? That's
now
the
that you put it
question.
that way, wine is the last thing you want to put there.
Yeah, because it won't
'Cause
age.
yeah, that's what you want your wine to age. What's going on, Jigen?
And what if
So
it's
the
a
question,
glass of wine? You probably don't want that aging.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
True, true.
It's just if time doesn't move in Konoha when Kawaki goes there, then Kawaki has all the time in the world to train. But I just don't get that assumption, because if that was the case, why didn't he just do combat training for a couple hundred years in
Yeah, that's true.
Daikokuten? That's my situation. Plus, Boruto said that we don't have time for this, meaning Koji told him that we don't have time for this. So I don't know. I could be wrong, and the Daikokusen could 100% operate like the hyperbolic time chamber concerning Kawaki. I just haven't gotten that vibe yet, is what I'm gonna say.
Mm, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Is
Where's
Kawaki multi-dimensional, or he can only access that dimension?
In theory, he can go to other dimensions. He just hasn't figured it out yet.
Oh, he's done.
yeah.
Okay. No, I was gonna say maybe there is a dimension where like time flows differently there than the regular one.
Well, he's multi-dimensional just off the karma seal, right? He hasn't mastered that yet. I don't think so.
I mean, supposedly he hasn't been using any karma teleportation other than going into Daikokuten. So he could have it, and he could have it. He could not have it. It's just the way I looked at it is Shikamaru said, "Oh, Boruto already mastered space time ninjutsu." He made it seem like Kawaki didn't have that down pat yet,
Mm,
especially because it feels like if he did, he could have said, "Oh, so he's also mastered space time ninjutsu, or he's like you, Kawaki now." So it feels like Kawaki still has issues with space time ninjutsu. And in my opinion, Boruto is the smarter out of the two, at least in jutsu theory. And if it took his original self 6 years to make a jutsu to be able to control teleportation with pinpoint accuracy, I don't think Kawaki's doing it in 3. That's my opinion. He could have it. He could very well have it, and he uses it in the next few chapters. And in my mind, I don't think he'd be able to do it by himself. Unless he's tapping into the full abilities of the karma and getting the experience of karma. Because it feels like
yeah,
it feels like why not use space time ninjutsu right now if you have it down pat.
yeah, 100%. To be honest, I would kind of give Kawaki a bit of an alibi. Not even that's wrong word for it. But I wouldn't judge him as harshly because Boruto is like a genius. Like, so I can't necessarily too much compare him to Boruto. And Boruto also had like a ninja base as well. So like him actually trying to learn jutsus and stuff like that, it's more second nature to him than my guy Kawaki.
And,
Unfortunately,
I wouldn't close the book off it right now. Like in my mind, he flew to the sand, but he could have teleported. You just didn't see it. So There's a chance he could have it. He's just not using it as much.
Yeah, it's possible. The thing that really gets me mad when it comes to like Kawaki's teleportation or time space ninjutsu, I thought he should have been doing that to potentially fight against other Otsutsuki members like, over the time skip. Like to come back from the time skip in chapter 1 of TBV, realizing that he didn't leave the leaf, bro, I was flabbergasted.
Dude got soft.
Well, maybe not what he's talking about. Maybe he can't because it seems like he had full functionality of like the like Okuchen when he first unlocked it. Like he didn't. It didn't seem like it was things he was just picking up on over time. He just had all access to all the abilities.
And you know what's interesting? In theory, Kawaki should have full mastery of every Otsutsuki ability just because he has karma, since he's supposed to get all the experience of Ishiki. If he doesn't have space-time ninjutsu, that means he's still not fully tapping into the karma, right? Because Boruto has that excuse that Momoshiki is actively nerfing him. That's why he wasn't able to use the Byakugan until now. So I wonder what Kawaki's excuse would be to not being able to tap into the karma, right? If he's still having trouble with some of those other Otsutsuki abilities, like
Shiki was decapitated half of his life, maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't necessarily say the only reason as to why Boruto is like kind of nerfed that to this much is because of Momoshiki. Could just be the fact that the karma still is kind of complicated to like master. Like
you also got to remember though, Boruto has used the karma before, at least in part 1. He's never been able to fully use it. Even Code clowned on him for saying that you're not using the karma right, and he kind of got close with the pills when he manifested that unactivated Byakugan.
Mm-hmm.
But he still wasn't using the Byakugan's abilities yet. Once he made the deal with Momoshiki, and Momoshiki said, "Yeah, use the karma, use whatever, I don't care what you use, just do it." He was now using the Byakugan like easily. He was able to easily control its abilities.
Yeah,
so
true.
It feels like that's a situation where he instantly got information on the eye.
I do got to go back. In that situation, did he have the horn or no? I don't think so, right?
No, he didn't have the horn. He had what he was using now. Hang on, let me see.
Yeah,
it's just we didn't see him. We didn't see him look. We didn't see him using the Byakugan. We know that for some reason the veins don't activate, but we didn't see him looking with the Byakugan.
Oh no, I meant in the when he fought against Momoshi during that.
Oh no, it wasn't the horns. It was like
just the first stage.
It was this one. So it's basically this one. Actually, wait.
Yeah.
Let me. It wasn't this one. Hang on. Was he using these markings? Hang on. Let me go back to TBV.
I think if he used the horn, it would have been a bigger deal because we haven't seen the horn in a minute.
So he wasn't using that version, not the horn version. He wasn't using True Essence because the marking is still different.
Yeah,
so he's still using a weaker karma then. That's interesting, actually. Huh.
Yeah, again, I don't think any of them has completely mastered the true essence of the karma still, except for Jigen. Jigen's probably like the only one where you can essentially on command use the horn state. Code hasn't, but of course Code's karma is a little bootleg.
And you know what's interesting? You know what's interesting? Because in the flash forward, they have their base karma designs, so like this, but it's still not true essence. So I wonder, when do they get that then? Because we clearly see that the design is different. Like the markings go to the side.
Mm-hmm.
So if this is a stronger version of the karma, it's not V2, but it's not necessarily V1. It's like true. If we call it true essence. Version. Yeah, when do they get this? When does Boruto get this? When does hypothetically Kawaki get a new marking? Huh. That is really interesting.
Yeah. So again, I think once they actually
your head, bro. Hold on.
No, I was scratching my beard. My bad.
All I heard is that's interesting.
That's how I think. Well, again, I was believing once they actually do get that specific um karma formation plus the horn, and they're actually cognizant of what they're doing, like they're actually in control. Well, specifically talking about Boruto, of course, Kawaki doesn't have a Otsutsuki member with them, but once that actually happens, I think that's when they're actually in the true essence of the karma seal. Until that happens, I don't think they're in it.
I agree. Because there does seem to be a distinction. So they might not even be getting that full battle experience because we know this marking did appear in the horn from this flashback. So it seems to be a state just before V2. So
Mhm.
I really do wonder when they'll be able to access that because he's still using the initial karma pattern just with the Byakugan now.
I have no idea. Well, let's say when, or not even hypothetically, but when Boruto and Kawaki do actually fight, the scene we see in chapter 1 and episode 1, do you think they'll actually have the true essence version of their karma cells respectively?
I feel like it would have to depend on whether the karma is part of the design tweaks. Because Ikamoto did say it would be slightly different, of course, because clothing redesigns and stuff. But would it be a situation where he just didn't plan for the other karma forms? Because if we keep this design, that means they're A, either not going all out, or B, even after all this time, they still can't use their V2 forms.
Mm. And to be
So
honest, I mean,
if that's the
right?
case, then this isn't the end. There still has to be an arc or two after this fight because they're purposely fighting at a lesser version of power, unless you want to argue that they're not starting off at full power right away. And I
Yeah,
would wonder why. Because
I'd
if
argue
Kawaki
that, but I'd argue that heavily, but I'd also say that it would be kind of wise for them to not necessarily spoil like the peak forms
that
of
is
both
true. That
characters.
is true. That is 100% also true. I just find it really interesting that when will they awaken that power? Because
Mm.
if they do,
Oh,
but if they do fight in just the V1 form, then that means this isn't the end. There has to be another arc. If they're just if like what you said, they don't want to spoil everything. Like with Kawaki's eye, he just has his base eye. Of course, it'll probably be different in when we actually get to it. So it could just be that. I just wonder if we will get the horns ever because it's been a while. It's been a hot minute since we even touched those horns, and it
yeah,
makes it seem like Kawaki can't even access it at will anymore.
yeah, no, there's a bunch of people. I think Free Game is actually actually one of these smart people. They believe it's possible that they retconned the horn state. I don't think so. I
Oh,
think they're just
facts.
waiting for the perfect time for them to actually complete. And to be honest, I think it could be a big storyline as to who unlocks the form
Or
first. Like
maybe
hypothetically, if Kawaki unlocks the true essence of the Karma Seal and then tries to go rogue and tries to backstab Boruto because he has
Because
the upper hand now, I think that'd be like a cool storyline.
in my
or
mind,
maybe too, like it could be like Kawaki, he has his karma seal without having Ishiki in the background now, and then Boruto, from what we know right now, Momoshiki can't resurrect through his karma seal through the standard methods. So it may be because their karma cells are no longer progressing that they don't have access to those states no more. They're probably using 100% of the karma cells power, and they don't need those like other states. Kind of like Gohan when he went, what do they call it? True Essence Gohan? Not True Essence. Fuck on some Ultimate Gohan where he don't have to use his Super Saiyan forms because it's all in his base state. It could be like similar.
it could be. I would just hope they would explain it if that's the case. Because in my mind, why is Kawaki trying to get more amps when he can just try tapping into V2 and trying to figure that out? So I do hope we get an explanation about the horns, if there's still a suitable power up, or if something happened. I just think that's a whole tier of power we're not touching. If we're gonna be fighting Jura, you're gonna need all the power that you can get. So I feel like we do need that explanation soonish, especially with Kawaki
Yeah,
being
100%.
out for the count and him needing more power soon.
Yeah, 100%. I think eventually we're probably going to figure out what there is a big possibility that this arc right here that we're currently in, the Shinju arc, is just not necessarily that important of an arc long term. Like, it could be that. So maybe it could happen in the Otsutsuki arc in the future. We talked about how the Otsutsukis have something to do with the Jogen. The Karma Seal is also another thing that the Otsutskis have a lot of things in common with as well. So, like, let's say the final form of the Karma Seal being introduced in like the Otsutsuki arc, I think that makes sense.
Do you think before the Otsutsuki arc we'll have a Kawaki conflict arc? Because I feel like we're getting to a point where Shikamaru's kind of screwed in the near future. We're gonna need to have a political arc. We might even need to get the other Kages involved. So if we're going to an Otsutsuki arc, do we think everyone will be fine with Boruto, regardless of whether omnipotence is reversed or not? Like, they'll just have to realize that Boruto is on their side. And do you think with them trying to realize Boruto's on their side, we'll get some conflict with Kawaki before a new threat happens?
I think it'll get to the point where it's like how it is right now, where it's like, bro, we don't even have like the time to be focusing on Boruto when we have something bigger at foot, and they all have a common enemy at that point. But later on, just like Sasuke, once the war is over, you're still a criminal, bro.
Because the issue is once Mamushi gets dealt with, we're gonna have downtime, and that downtime is the perfect chance for Kobu to come back, for the daimyo to come back, for the other Kages to start asking questions if they find out that Shikamaru has been potentially working with Boruto. And the Kages might be understanding to an extent, at the very least Gaara might be, but we know the civilians, we know the daimyo, they're going to be demanding blood. They're going to need something to go off of to work with Boruto. So I wonder if that comes into conflict with Kawaki. I wonder if we're put in a situation where Kawaki gets pushed into a corner and potentially leaves the village. Like, do we think he's going to permanently just stay in the village? Because, Damon kind of alluded to the point that at some point people will find out what he did. Not necessarily omnipotence, but just the fact that he's the one who kidnapped Naruto and he framed Boruto for it. That's still a criminal offense that they can comprehend and just say, okay, we still don't mess with Boruto. He's still a filthy outsider, but he didn't do a crime, supposedly.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. Well, first things first, I think Boruto 100%. I think he could, in a way, ingratiate himself back with the Hidden Leaf Village without omnipotence being completely reversed. I could see a situation, and of course, Orochimaru is like one of the prime examples. But I've always stuck with this, and I talk about this all the time, where when Ada was essentially asked about essentially reversing the omnipotence, she said at this particular point, the best thing you could do is create brand new memories. And as of right now, like, Boruto has been like 10 out of 10 in doing just that, like creating brand new memories. Even when it comes to the last chapter, once he saved damn, I always forget his name. Yeah. Once he saved him, I mean, like, that's a brand new memory for him as well. Like, now he realizes that, hey, Boruto once saved my life. So, like, things like that, I think, will eventually, like, compound to the point where, of course, Boruto is his enemy. Of course, Boruto is, like, this person that shouldn't necessarily be celebrated. But we do have to appreciate what he did actually do for the Hidden Leaf Village. And I think, of course, that at this particular point, he hasn't necessarily ingratiated himself so far. But let's say after this potential arc, and maybe another arc in the future, then maybe that could be serious. Maybe that could be the way where Boruto is now, like, tolerated among the
bro,
Hidden
this is probably a bad comparison, right? So, like, Boruto, he killed the whole Kage, right? So we're gonna look at it from that lens. They don't really put it in IRL. Say Hitler saved your life. Would you no longer? And then everybody just telling you Hitler is this terrible person, but you're like, wait, no, he saved my life.
But see, the problem with that is that the person might be grateful, but convincing the masses is the whole is
right,
where it
exactly.
becomes difficult.
That's why I'm like that's where I was trying to bring it to.
He killed Naruto. That's such an unforgivable crime that no one really cares what he does. They still want him dead. Unlike, say, killing the third. Yeah, people like the third, but at the end of the day, the daimyo didn't care. So that was mostly decided upon by the five Kages. No one really cares about the third, other than like some people in the Leaf. Yeah, and Naruto didn't even care. He said, "Teach Orochimaru's son." Like, I don't care. I'm not even gonna tell you that he's his son. Just teach him. Like, no one cares about Konohamaru. Unfortunately, like, yeah, he killed your grandpa, but you know
Or
what?
his parents, because where are they?
They're Ambu, I think.
You
Just
think?
nameless
See,
Ambu.
that's the crazy thing. Like you're the Naruto Boruto almanac, and you can't even pinpoint where
No,
they
they
are.
are Ambu. They are Ambu. I just don't remember where I read it from. I can pull it up.
It doesn't even matter, bro. It doesn't
but
matter. It really
but
doesn't.
I found it actually.
Already?
You,
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, here it is.
that's his
Here it is.
jutsu, bro. I'm telling you.
Here it is. His uncle, on the other hand, was a former 12 guardian ninja and was once called the arms of the
Bro,
third Hokage.
they didn't even bother drawing them a face.
Yeah. Like I said, they're
They're
Ambu.
Anbu, dog.
Not forgetting his parents who were both elite jonin, both part of the Ambu and under the Hokage's direct command.
Okay, but they still have identity other being an Ambu. They didn't even like bother to
Nah,
give them identity.
nah. When you're Anbu,
No
you're
face,
Anbu.
no case, brother.
The only reason why we know who Kakashi and Itachi are is because what they did before they were Anbu and because they left the Anbu.
Okay, so what
That's it.
about them? What about what they did before they was Ambu? I'm pretty sure they wasn't sucking
I
their
mean, for
mama's
all
breast
we
as
know,
the
they
Ambu.
could have died during the
Before
invasion.
they became an Ambu, they died?
No, they could have died
No.
while they were Ambu. Like this
No,
is
I'm
war.
saying,
This
all
is
right, so
war.
they don't have no baby pictures before they were Ambu? Like, that's all they have? That's the only images we have of them?
Hey, blame
They ain't have
Konohamaru.
no
Dude
class
ain't showing
reunion
pictures.
pictures.
I mean, blame Konohamaru at that point. He ain't showing us his family
Bro,
life.
I don't
bro,
think
these
he
are
had one.
grown ninjas, bro. I'm not about to be badgering them over pictures. They're ninjas.
But you know, side
They
note.
gotta have some selfies.
But you know,
Something,
side
bro. Come
note.
on.
I get why Naruto would be lenient hypothetically to Orochimaru. I mean, if you think about it, Orochimaru gave Naruto a pretty damn good birthday gift. Can we say the same for Hiruzen?
What do you give him?
Alright.
Am I
He gave him
bugging
his
out here?
dad. Dude brought back Minato.
I thought you
Oh.
was about to say he clapped third.
I mean that too. That
That
too. And if we think about it, without Orochimaru, they aren't winning the war. I mean, Minato only got there because of Orochimaru. He got to wish his son a happy birthday. Kurama got the best present ever. He got his other half back. He became a full-tailed beast again. That's because of Orochimaru. So
Kabuto.
wait, what else my train of thought? But yeah, he gave them some pretty damn good birthday presents. So, you know, I can understand being lenient with Orochimaru.
No, I mean you put it in that.
I mean, what did the third ever give Naruto for his birthday that we could compare?
An apartment? What the fuck?
Okay, but is an apartment better than having a whole other Nine Tails and having your dad back for a day?
I mean, it depends. Yeah, I mean, I don't even care about my father, so I would have took an apartment, bro.
I mean, Kurama would say otherwise. I mean, a whole other Kurama.
What do you give it? Well, first of all, all right. I'll take an apartment because the fuck do I need a nuclear bomb for?
Okay,
I don't need it.
But free game,
not
free
necessary.
Get bread. You know how much S tier missions you can go on with a bomb.
But free game. Think about it this way. If Orochimaru never gave him that gift, Naruto would be 6 feet under. So you can have the apartment, but if you never get the other half of Kurama, you're getting taken out because Madara is taking your half of Kurama. So Orochimaru really indirectly saved Naruto's life.
No, he's not, bro. He can't get in my apartment without my permission. Lock the doors. No, I'm just messing with you. No, I get what you said.
But you know, like I was saying, when we went on that Orochimaru tangent, like this ain't the third Hokage. You killed a living legend. You killed someone who was beloved by a lot of people in a lot of nations. So it becomes an unforgivable crime that even if you entertain working with Boruto, you gotta approach talking about Naruto. Like, why did you kill Naruto? And they're gonna want answers. So I wonder
can't just downplay a free apartment though. Like, just can't downplay somebody giving you a whole free apartment.
I mean, if Hiruzen really wanted to do good, why didn't he give him Kushina's place or Minato's place? Like, you could argue that's his inheritance. You could argue dude took his money and bought that apartment.
No, they were renting that apartment. It's not like it's something that they owned.
It would be kind of suspicious. Hypothetically, you want to Minato's ops, and you're like, "Hey, why is this little kid here with Minato's hair color just living in Minato's house? Like, is this his son?
Straight
Like,
fanboy. This is a fanboy right here.
I mean, would you even call the apartment a gift though? Because he's a Jinchuriki at the end of the day. He's a military asset. You want your military asset to have a home.
Bro, I know a lot of people in the military who don't have homes.
Okay, but like you're comparing an Aruka
No,
to a nuclear
never mind.
bomb.
I'm lying. I don't know nobody in the military without a home. I'm straight capping right now. I'm so lying.
what does Aruka not have a home? Was that the comparison we was about to make?
No, the comparison I'm
hold up.
making,
Yeah, for sure.
the comparison I'm making is low key. Naruto's apartment was better than like half the other ninjas. He was just a messy kid.
Nah, that's a good point.
Like we've seen, like
That is a good
Kishimoto
point.
drew like Naruto's apartment. That place is big. It's bigger than Kakashi's apartment. So like when everyone's complaining about Haru's not giving him a good place to live,
Oh, what? I'm the one who's rooting for Aruka. I'm like, bro, he gave him a whole free apartment, bro. I don't care if it was a studio apartment. You see rent prices out here, bro? I want a free studio.
that is fair. But you know, Aruka pays rent, so
Well, I don't know. If you're a whole you shouldn't be paying rent.
you know, Naruto left for 2.5 years. I don't even think he was paying rent. He just came back to his apartment like nothing happened. So
I mean, look at it now. Who's paying the rent on Naruto's apartment right now? And then him
he
and
bought
Warriors
that
living
house.
there.
He bought his house.
I mean, his house. What the fuck am I talking about?
So you probably just gotta pay taxes.
Mortgage, and then property tax and stuff like that. So him and Warriors, she ain't got no job, bro. She just wrapping up property tax.
I mean,
Come back
imagine trying to
bro.
kick out, bro. Ain't nobody kicking Himawari out that house, bro. What are you doing?
yeah. Plus, you know, Hyuga money. You got Hyuga money. You got
that's
Naruto
another
money.
thing too. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if you think about it, the house they had in the last scene, if you go by the novels, Hinata moved out of that house because it was too lavish. It was too big. She wanted a quaint family home, so they moved into their current home. So they had the bread. They have bread. Like Himawari has that inheritance. Kawaki's just eating off Naruto's money while he kidnapped Naruto, hypothetically.
Yeah.
And I'm just living off my dog's mission money.
Not to mention, Kawaki be collecting Boruto's paychecks with Boruto's social security number, with Boruto's identity.
No, true for
Right, he has to. Like, and well, he's gonna say he's Kawaki, or he's gonna say he's Boruto. Technically,
Dude's living in a whole ass mansion. So like, you know, as much as I want to give Kawaki the benefit of the doubt of him not liking Boruto's life, he's definitely using it.
but he
Yeah,
has
he's
to.
full of
Like,
I mean,
that's the
does he
thing,
though?
has
I mean, he could have left the village. He could have went to go hunt down Code. He could have fished for his dinner. He chose to stay in the leaf.
Yeah. I mean, so he's supposed to just run away?
I mean, his whole goal is to off Boruto and to off other Otsutsukis. What was he gonna do? Sit there for 80 years until Boruto came back? Like, say the Ten Tails never happened.
Well,
Say the Ten Tails never happened, and Boruto never came back. What's Kawaki doing?
I've had my own criticisms about whatever Kawaki's doing. I talked about how I wanted him to go to other dimensions and potentially try to fight other Otsuka members. That's how he gets his training. But you do have to give him the excuse that he did have to protect the Hidden Leaf Village from Code in case he did come back.
But see, my thing is, he only really had those claw marks to look for Boruto. He had them in other villages. Other villages weren't necessarily attacked. So it feels like, yeah, that's a good excuse. That I gotta protect the village. I gotta remove the claw marks. But he couldn't take a week to
if Cole came back, what is he going to do against a person that like literally stomped on his back? Like
exactly.
Even with Kawaki not being there, there's
cooked
nothing
Code.
Cole can really do.
Yeah, he could have cooked Code. All due respect.
No, I'm
like,
saying like even
one-
with Kawaki. No, I'm not saying Kawaki can't be Code. I'm saying even if Kawaki wasn't there, you still have Damon there. So like Code invading the village isn't really going to be that much of a big deal if you want to be absolutely frank with him.
But see,
That's
I agree.
if Damon would even try to protect the village, but
see, I agree with Bar. If they had at least showed us he was researching Otsutsuki, or the bare minimum asking Amado,
for
"Yo,
sure.
where can I find the
Facts.
Otsutsuki?" That could have been justified. But it seems like Code wasn't really that much of a threat. He was spying on them, and sure, Kawaki did help, but like, I don't think Code would have been a problem if Kawaki just left until he would have gotten fed up and just went to the Leaf to goad Boruto. So it
I have
feels
a
like he
hot
was
take,
just
bro.
what is it? What is it?
I don't think we're going to get an Otsutsuki invasion in the future. I think it. Honestly, think it's going to
Well,
be super grounded.
well,
I
define
mean, I don't.
invasion.
Yeah, like is it like Viltrumites? You getting
Okay, so not invasion. Maybe that's a too large of a word, but like there, I don't think we're going to get another Otsutsuki that gets presented in the future.
That
I
gets
think we
what?
kind of
Oh
have
yeah.
to. I think we kind of have to get at least one or two
I
Otsutsukis.
I don't
Because
think we have to do anything, but I no, seriously, I really don't think so
do
because
you
we
think
still
Shibai
have.
will never? But do you think Shibai will just never be a thing? Like he was name dropped once or twice, but we're never gonna see him.
I don't think we are.
Okay, what about Akabi? Do you think she'll come back as an Otsutsuki then, or do you think she'll come back at all?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the next. Like we're going to get an Otsutsuki there, but I don't think we're going to get the traditional pale skin Otsutsuki that comes from space and shit. Like, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think we
Like
need
I
one
just
more though, because you got to remember we have the broken little broken
Two of them.
mosaic thing. Yeah, and
Two.
we could argue one could have been Shibai, and even if that was the case, we're still missing one.
But
I feel
what
like
if what if the people who wrote Boruto wasn't thinking as deep as everybody else? What if they just did that for aesthetic purposes and everybody's like, "Oh my god, there's gonna be another Otsutsuki," and they're like, "Wait, there is?
But like, why
When?"
show that though at that point? Why have the broken?
Yeah.
Because
And
we got to because even if they died, those things don't break. You have to break them. Kaguya's thing was still there. Uh,
yeah,
what's his name? Kinshiki's thing was still there.
Bro, that's gonna be the
100%.
farthest callback to ever, like the foreshadowing for the farthest comeback and when the anime says because we're gonna go all the way back to the stone tablets and stuff like that, and they're gonna reference that, yeah, we're the ones that
I
was on
mean,
the stone tablet that never
Shit,
got
they
I
went
mean,
back
shown.
to
without
Momoshiki after the war arc. They gave us like a 2 second flash to them, and just all of a sudden my hair's with Momoshiki still on board with TVP. So like,
without getting
yeah,
into spoilers for One Piece, we've had
And they kind
callbacks for
of
hundreds of chapters.
then they kind of like change up that, like, wasn't it kind of like retcon into Boruto with with Kaguya talking about the Otsutsuki that's coming after.
No,
nah, I
so
don't remember
what
hearing
had
that.
I'm talking
happened
about
is
not. I'm not talking about her specifically talking about them. My bad. I'm talking about the what do you call that? What am I trying to say? The silhouette of the people that was behind Kaguya. Wasn't that retcon
so they did
into
that in the
Boruto?
anime. They did that in the anime only Kaguya arc thing.
Hmm.
So what
With the
when
silhouette of
yeah,
Momoshiki and
and
everybody else.
Urashiki and Kinshiki, yes.
So that was
It
in the Naruto anime.
was in the anime, yes, Naruto anime. Because by the time they did the Kaguya stuff, the Boruto stuff was already happening, so you did have that source material. So they just put the silhouettes of Urashiki,
Oh, you're saying it
Kinshiki.
happened in the anime, not the manga. Okay, I get
Yeah,
what you're saying.
the
Yeah,
manga in the manga they just alluded to Kaguya making an army.
right.
So let's see, you can pull it up. So Black Zetsu was talking about like the white Zetsus, and said she needed to build an army. And then Gaiden talks about Sasuke's suspicions of why did Kaguya, for as strong as she was, need to have an army, and that made him theorize that there were maybe something she was planning for, and that's why he went to search throughout Kaguya's dimensions. And of course, Shikamaru. What I've always found weird is Sasuke finds that info literally a couple of days before they arrive. So like he spent like years searching. And he only finds it when that shit's about to happen, which I find hilarious as hell. Because he was literally a couple days off. Like, yeah, I found the scroll. 3 days later, oh yeah, this scroll tells us about Momoshiki and Urashiki, and I mean Kinshiki. But yeah, they're already here, so my
Yeah.
searching was kind of useless at this point.
Yeah, can't give us too much time to prep. Can't give us too much prep time. But yeah, no, that's all. That's that. Like, I just really don't think that we're going to get any callbacks to that. Like, it's going to be very disappointing. It'd be dope if we do, but I honestly, that's how much faith I have in the
It's just
series. I
if we
guess.
don't do another Otsutsuki, and we have Jura as this arc's villain, then we have potentially Akabi, and then we ended off with Kawaki. Do we think that's enough of a payoff? Like we just
Again,
ended off with Kawaki.
It just depends on how grand of what kind of threat Akabi is. If she's like end game threat, then yeah, that's good enough for me.
Wait a minute. I still don't believe Akabi's going to be a threat. Like, I just think she's a daughter.
If she's just the daughter and she just
Bro,
comes back and say an
that's
Otsutsuki to be fed,
stupid.
then we definitely do need an Otsutsuki. I feel like to just round everything off and just close out
Yeah.
the Otsutsuki side of the verse, because you do need some closure, especially concerning Momoshiki and potentially him, whatever role he plays, whether he gets erased from Boruto, whether they come to an understanding, or whether he makes his own big moves.
See, like if we was gonna have another Otsutsuki, we should have had like at least Momoshiki alluding to another Otsutsuki. Give us some kind of like idea that we're going to get another Otsutsuki. Momoshiki's just chilling, bro. He doesn't give no fucks about nothing right now. Like
He was low key on his,
if he's
on his
a
depressed arc.
you would have
He was
assumed
on
that
his
like if he's a
deathbed, literally.
prince,
He wanted to die.
if he's literally a prince of the Otsutsuki, like the hierarchy wouldn't come looking for him. So
I
maybe
mean,
he's
it
like
took
on
them
his
1,000
Vegeta
years
shit,
before
or
they
he's
even cared about Kaguya. So
I mean,
it's
maybe
barely
he's
been
like
a
on his
weekend, I
Vegeta
guess.
shit. Maybe he's a prince of nobody then. Like maybe there's nobody left for him to be a prince of.
But I feel like if it took them 1,000 years to even wonder what Kaguya and like Ishiki by proxy has been doing, Momoshiki has only been gone for 3 years. I would guess in the time span of an Otsutsuki, that's barely a weekend.
But if you're talking about two peasants compared to a prince, though, we're talking about the prince of the Otsutsuki. Why haven't he returned? Even if it's a week, it shouldn't have took him a week to deal with ants. Like, if I send my son to go around the corner and to go step on some ants, and he ain't back and it's nighttime already, that's just the same day. I'm gonna be like, bro, what happened to my son? Did the ants kill him? Like, what's going on?
I don't know.
Like,
Maybe he's
I
enjoying
nobody
himself.
cares.
I just don't think they tripping over 3 years. Like, is that even
like,
enough time for like a full
Wow.
Karma Seal resurrection
Wow.
for a potential
Wow.
Kinshiki god
probably
tree?
not. I mean,
Your prince
Kawaki's been.
goes missing for 3 years, and we're just like, okay.
I
We
mean,
sent him on a mission. He hasn't came back.
they
But think about
they
it.
weren't even scared about Kaguya. They just said, "Oh wait, we're sensing." Hell, they didn't even care about 1,000 years. In the anime, they just started sensing chakra and said, "Wait, this chakra level seems too high. Let's go check on Kaguya. Oh, she's dead." So I feel like 3 years isn't really enough time for them to worry if there's any Otsutsuki left.
100%. Now, I forgot what I was about to say.
Hasn't it been
At
way
this
more than
point
3
loaded
years,
up
though, honestly?
for like solid 3 minutes already.
It has been way more than 3 years. It's been at least 5, 6.
Okay, so Momoshiki shows up when Boruto's 12. Boruto Part 1 ends off with him still being 12.
Well, what the fuck? Okay, never mind.
So it's only been a couple months. So like the whole time span of chapter 1 of Boruto to chapter 80 is less than a year. At best, we could say 8 or 9 months. It hasn't been a year. And then 3 years later, he's 15, potentially going on to 16. So at best, it's been almost 4 years. It's still 3 years and a couple months. So even then, it hasn't really been that much time.
That's crazy.
You're comparing 1,000 years for them to like start asking questions about Kaguya. It's only been 3 years. That kid's probably just enjoying himself. He probably got too excited or something. I don't know.
Yeah, facts. Basically, what happened with Goku on a Yardratic planet. So, but in my personal opinion, like I think if we were to see an Otsutsuki invasion, it would be more likely that they invade because of the 16 space curvatures than Momoshiki.
Hell, to be honest, that curvature is probably expanded with the amount of with the amount of characters we have.
30.
Not to mention, the stronger these characters get, the more characters that appear on Earth, the stronger that chakra fruit becomes. Because now that chakra fruit has data on Karma Boruto, Mangekyo Sharingan Sarada, amped up Kawaki, Jura. That chakra fruit is gonna go crazy.
Yeah, so the bounty on this universe's head just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. We're not getting the small fry.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is this chakra fruit becoming as Ishiki, Urashiki, Kinshiki, Momoshiki, Boruto, Kawaki, Himawari? Like, it's insane.
For a fact. And another reason why I think we 100% need to get another like full-fledged Otsutsuki, not to have my eugenics thing popping out, but like we haven't seen any of them actually utilize like divine arts, like legitimately. Now, of course, Ishii Otsutsuki was like the first one. Like outside of him, like we haven't necessarily seen like an Otsutsuki member just come out and just use a bunch of divine arts and surprises, which makes me believe that we haven't necessarily seen like the upper echelons of Otsutsukis.
100%. Plus, if their goals are all the same, if their goals are to become like Shiba and ascend, then I don't think there's any other planet that's gonna give them a harvest compared to Earth. Like at some point, whatever Otsutsuki is there is gonna sense Earth and get the same idea that Code was told to go devour Earth. Like that might be the fruit that gets them closest to evolving into a godlike being. Like you might just need the Earth's fruit at that point, and it would be weird if no Otsutsuki shows up. And hell, I feel like even if there's only like one left, we do need that one to justify Kawaki. Because if we end off Boruto with there being no more purebred Otsutsuki, like you said, that just makes Kawaki seem more of a bumbling dumbass because there's seemingly no more Otsutsuki. Like Boruto and him are the last ones. So we do need something to come from space to justify it.
Yeah,
like, he needs to be justified.
I wanted to bring it up as well when you first asked the question. You were I don't know what I just said, but you were basically saying that, or do you think we'll get Kawaki? Damn, I forgot her name. The daughter or the Otsutsuki clan. You kind of phrase it where we get Kawaki first, then the Otsutsuki. I think it would eventually be we get the Otsutsuki arc, and then that would kind of lead to Kawaki kind of going haywire and remembering, hey, Boruto is an Otsutsuki that I gotta eliminate.
So, I agree, and I think if Akabi does come back, I think she'll be Akabi and just an Otsutsuki because it gives us a potential sacrifice for the chakra fruit, and they did seem to imply that depending on the quality of the Otsutsuki that you feed, that correlates to how big the divine tree might be. So if hypothetically Akabi gets fed, we can see a chakra fruit happen, but not necessarily kill the earth off. She might have just been too weak to completely devour the earth. So it becomes like a Naruto situation where, yeah, we got to see Ten Tails, but we also got to keep Naruto alive. So we get the best of both worlds. Like Akabi gets fed, we get the tree, we get whatever Otsutsuki eats it to evolve, but the earth is still intact for the most part.
Run that by me again.
Lost them.
So my idea was if we do get Akabi revived, right? And she has like the body of an Otsutsuki, but she's still Akabi, she becomes another potential sacrifice to be fed to Ten Tails. Now, at the end of the day, Akabi was a civilian. Even if she becomes an Otsutsuki,
a civilian.
Well, supposedly a civilian, supposedly a regular girl, a regular woman. So it might be a situation where she's weak enough to where if she gets fed, the divine tree that forms might not be enough to devour the earth in one go.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it still creates a fruit, but the earth is still intact. So we get the best of both worlds. The villain can eat the fruit, they can evolve, we can have that transformation in that battle, but the earth isn't dead. It's still okay. So it would be a kind of a callback to Ten Tails. We were all wondering how are we going to see Ten Tails if they need Nine Tails to revive. They're not going to kill off Naruto. We got the best of both worlds by them feeding parts of Nine Tails' chakra to make Ten Tails. So we still got Naruto, and we still got to see Ten Tails, and we got the best of both worlds. So that could possibly be something to give us a chakra fruit.
Yeah,
and I think this Akabi thing is too much of a callback to Blood Prison, bro. I think Akabi becomes no, seriously. Like I think she's going.
100%. We talked about this before. Like it definitely is. That could also be a situation where Amado just doesn't know what he's doing, and he revives something that's just not his daughter.
Yeah,
it might look like his daughter, but it's just some like evil Otsutsuki, and it becomes a situation where he has to understand that Akabi died. You messed up. You should have used the remaining time she had to be a father to her, and he has to learn that death is just permanent in this case.
Feed my daughter to the Ten Tails. You just gotta. So lesser of the evils. She's too much of a threat. Feed her to the Ten Tails, and you still get the Ten Tails thing with the Otsutsuki and the whole chakra fruit thing. There you go. Get the best of both worlds.
Oh, it's crazy work. Crazy.
At the end of the day, feed her to the fucking tail beast. There you go.
Which is funny because the tailed beasts are chakra fruits at the end of the day. They're just pieces of one. So it
Yeah.
would be kind of funny if that's how Kawaki chooses to upgrade his body by hunting down the tailed beasts and just devouring them to amp himself up.
I wish.
Nah, it wouldn't be too crazy.
I did have another question that is completely different from this. Do you think that other tail beasts would be involved in the rest of the Boruto story?
I hope so. I really do. I mean, we've gotten crumbs. We've gotten Jura reference that Naruto made connections with the other tailed beasts. I'm just scared we won't, because Ikamoto had a decent chance of having Shukaku show up in the sand, and we didn't get that.
Oh yeah,
100%. I hope.
100%.
I feel like we just have to, because we're basically fighting a tailed beast. We're fighting 10 tails. We have the other tailed beasts who are basically similar life forms to Jura. They all became sentient. The only difference is our tailed beasts had Hagoromo to talk to them. He gave them purpose. They also spent 1,000 years growing and changing and learning. In Jura's case, he's alone and he's trying to speedrun gaining intelligence and gaining knowledge and trying to figure things out. So it would be interesting, because we don't have Naruto here to go talk to those other tailed beasts, to go see what they've been doing, because they're pretty much similar life forms. They're pieces of a completed divine tree. They're pieces of chakra fruit. He's an incomplete divine tree. So I feel like it'd be a missed opportunity not to, at the very least, show the tailed beasts, or at the very least have Himawari talk to them, because they're out there. It would be weird that they're just living life when all these things are happening. And I feel like the closest chance we have is if we get a Cloud Village arc or a 5 Kage summit where we see the Raikage and potentially B, because he's the closest thing to getting us the tailed beasts by being a Jinchuriki.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, I never really thought about the angle, of course, and I should have, the angle of essentially Jura being a tail beast as well. I've always thought, especially once I first saw that his official target wasn't necessarily Naruto, it was really Kurama. I always thought, why take the hardest option out of all the tail beasts? Like, not saying that that what's it called, killer bees ain't chopped liver, but all the other tail beasts are pretty much roaming and frolicking freely amongst everyone else. You could just pull up on one of them and just actually
100%
absorb them. And
you know,
not only what.
Oh no, you go. You finish your point.
I was about to finish. Not only the fact that they're just actual tail beasts, but they're also sentient as well. Like, they're actually talking and moving and eating the way they want
100%.
to.
I mean, why wouldn't you go hunting for a megalodon instead of a fucking hammerhead shark? I don't know.
But it did get confusing initially, but we do know that his target is still Naruto. It's just he tried sensing Naruto by sensing Ninetales chakra.
Yeah.
So that's why he became interested in Himawari, to find out why she had Ninetales chakra. He's still after Himawari, but now that he knows Naruto is alive, his main target is still Naruto. It seems like Kurama's just that consolation prize that, from what I knew, Kurama should have been in Naruto. That's not the case. I want to know why Kurama's in Himawari, but I also still want Naruto, because I know he's alive.
How far back? Like, how his data is very, very dated. Like,
yes. So it was 100% dated. So initially, he thought tracking down Ninetales would lead him to Naruto. Then
where is he getting this info from? Now that I'm thinking about it, like, where is he getting this information from? His information is like 3 years dated. Like,
he's reading the Naruto manga. He's still caught up on. He still hasn't caught up on filler.
Bro,
well, to be honest,
say for real, I was about to be like, seriously.
But to be honest, he never really. I don't think he ever really seen Naruto. I'm thinking of the 10 tails that was in that little spot where Jigen essentially just stole the chakra.
Do you think they updated the library as well too? Sorry, Bar. Do you think they updated the library? Because he gets a lot of his information from the Konoha library. Do you think they updated it to where Naruto is no longer the holder of the tail beast?
I don't think he pulled up to the. I don't think he read any books before he did his first drill.
He did. He did.
He did?
He did. Hang on, I got it.
He said before he did his first drill. I just noticed what he said.
So he was reading. Hang on, he was reading when he said, "I want to go see Naruto Uzumaki." Hang on.
Bro, ever since they introduced him, he had a
Here
book
it
in
is.
his hand.
Here it is. It's curious, this world. The more knowledge I acquire, the more questions arise, and the more things I don't know. If anything, the knowledge reveals my ignorance. It's fascinating. It's been gradually occurring to me, by the way, that none of the books here seem to hold the answers to my question. So let's pay a visit to Uzumaki Naruto.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so
he
from
did.
what we know, they get the names of their target by their instinct. So Hidari instinctively knew the name Sarada Uchiha. Now we know why he's after Sarada because he has the chakra of Sasuke. In Jura's case, we don't fully know why he wants Naruto other than that tailed beast connection. And if that's true, what connection does Ten Tails have with the other tailed beasts? Is it just generic him being a tailed beast and him just instinctively knowing that Naruto befriended other tailed beasts and having that connection that he wants to find Naruto? Or is it something deeper? We don't know
Maybe
that
because
yet.
he's the sanctuary of all of them. So he's like, I don't know.
That could 100% be it, and he could be linked to the tailed beast psychic plane. I mean, of course, he was able to sense Kurama. No one else was able to do that. Damon got close, but he was hiding. Like, he was pretty good at hiding, and he was even mildly surprised that Ten Tails was able to sniff him out.
Yeah.
Of course, he was after Naruto. You know, if he thinks Naruto's still a Jinchuriki, he's going to try to sense Nine Tails chakra.
Yeah.
And that's what got him interested in Himawari. After that situation, when he found out Naruto was still alive, he of course still wanted Himawari, but she kind of took that back burner to where, yeah, his main target, his first target, is still Naruto. And he even says he's a Jinchuriki who bears a tailed beast. As an incarnation of a fellow tailed beast, I can sense the tailed beast chakra dwelling inside him. So he, what, like what you said, his data was 3 years out of date, give or take.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. Oh, the other point I was gonna have with Tail Beast, essentially why I kind of asked the question. I thought there, with the advent of scientific technology nowadays, because the Tail Beasts are now, I guess, relevant again. I'm assuming. Well, I consider Karma now being like a perfect, or Himawari being like a perfect Jinchuriki now make the Tail Beast a bit relevant. Do you think it'd be far fetched for them to find a mechanic that actually matches ninjas to like Tail Beast DNA and find their perfect Jinchuriki? Would that be like too far fetched?
It wouldn't be far fetched because they were in the old days. It was a process. Like, you had to find a compatible Jinchuriki to be able to steal the Tail Beast. It would perfectly make sense if they made a machine like say, okay, your chakra is compatible with Shukaku or Matsubi. The problem becomes that you need the Tail Beast to corroborate because it takes years for a Jinchuriki to get up to snuff if you're forcing that Tailed Beast. So at the end of the day, you need the Tailed Beast to agree if you want to use them at all. If they're not agreeing, you have years. It's going to take you years to even be able to get a ninja to be able to use their Tailed Beast. And even the five Kage said that, like, when they heard the Akatsuki was gathering tailed beasts, they even left. That it takes too long for a Jinchuriki to be made. But they, of course, weren't going to use them as standard Jinchuriki. So that could 100% work. The question is, will the tailed beast be willing to get themselves sealed inside a human? Especially because they're going to be in that human for a couple decades at least, because, you know, that human's going to die if they try to leave.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. I was just thinking it would be a decent way to potentially incorporate other side characters, maybe have them get to the point where they're actually up there with the Ishiki Otsutsuki and things of that nature. I don't know.
I feel like it just becomes an issue. I feel like it just
Mm-hmm.
becomes an issue if they wouldn't even do that shit for Naruto and they were ride or die with Naruto. Why would they do it for like a Chojuro or a C or Gaara? Even Shukaku being okay with Gaara, he still wouldn't want to go back into Gaara.
Well, you could rationalize it by saying it's either do this or you essentially not have a plan anymore. Like,
And you know,
hypothetically, what?
And you know, I said that with Naruto. Like, he could have low key called them up and said, "You know what? I need to fight this guy Code. Can one of you be my tailed beast?" for a couple decades. And, you know, we didn't even address that. So I wonder how much they care about the Earth staying alive if Kurama did drop that little tidbit that they always come back. So, like, would it really matter to them if they come back in a couple thousand years?
Well, that's the thing. First things first, would it be a couple of thousand years, and what would the Earth look like in a post, like, chakra fruit, like, state? Like, I have no idea.
I mean, even if it's a barren wasteland, they don't need food. So low key, they might be chilling.
Yeah, low key, it'd probably be like a fun little playground for
Like,
them.
it would be weird. It would be weird for them not to care at all. But we haven't even seen them doing anything, so I don't know. For all we know, they could just say, "You know what? Screw humans. They screwed us over for a couple hundred years. Now it's their problem. They got to clean this shit up. We don't want anything to do with this."
Shit, I would.
Yeah.
Fuck them humans.
I'm thinking about it now. It is probably my last question of the pod. But if there were like IRL tail beasts, like where would they be chilling? Like the Everglades, like the Amazon rainforest?
I mean, I think it depends on the tail beast, like the one
Yeah.
that what's the name? The lava one, whatever his name
Yeah,
is. He
Son
probably
Goku.
yeah, Son
Oh,
Goku
yeah,
was
Son
probably
Goku.
chilling in the volcanoes, bro. Like it just depends on the tail beast.
Yeah, because they all had homes. It's just Mr. Colonizer Hashirama invaded their homes, sealed them away, and then just sold them for money. dude just sold them for money.
Fucking
Like,
hoard them out.
exactly.
I mean,
like,
he did
He had
have
a whole stable of tail beasts and just sold them off.
he did have legitimate motive behind it. You can't just be slandering.
I mean, if we argue it, Hashirama was a pretty strong guy. You know,
Bro, his
we can
motives
seal
was
him
kinda,
so he doesn't run rampant.
his motives was kind of bum. Like we're gonna spread the power around the different villages, but we're gonna keep the strongest tail beast. So y'all can have all the other ones. We're gonna keep the strongest one, but we're trying to divide power amongst the villages. But y'all take the weaker tail beast though. We're taking the strongest one.
Was it that plan itself? Is it that different than what Pain was planning? I mean, what's the problem here? Like, I have the strongest one. I have the strongest nuke. If anything really gets like, that bad, like I can nuke everything.
So here's what the tail beasts say. So like now we're all free. I'm going home to Suriendo. I think I'll hunker down in a forest. We can finally go back to our homes. It's like a dream.
Oh yeah, so they had their own little talibs.
So they had they had homes. Like Shukaku lived in the sand. Shukaku was captured by the sand. So Hashirama never captured him. He was just chilling in sand village. Came at him. And then Hashirama went for the other 7-tailed beasts and just like say, you know what, I'm gonna hunt you down like Pokemon, and I'm gonna sell you guys. So
yeah,
I want to know how the Cloud Village ended up with 2
America.
They had the money. They had the bread. They paid for that. They paid for that.
What was the other tail beast they had?
Crazy.
Okay, so basically,
I think it was like 7 tails, something like that. Yeah, it was like the dolphin or something like that.
So the Cloud paid for 8 tails and 2 tails. The Stone paid for, was it 4 tails? I don't remember.
Got their reparations, bro.
They paid for 2.
I respect it.
And then the Mist got 2. And then was it Waterfall? The Land of Waterfall got 7. Got Chome.
Oh, I guess
three of the 5 villages had 2 tail beasts. So Mist had 2, Stone had 2, Cloud had 2, the Sand had 1, the Leaf had 1, and then Waterfall had 1.
Sand Village probably broke back in the day. I guess the reason why the Cloud Village stood out was because they had 8 tails. 8 tails plus another tailed beast. Like, oh my days.
But yeah, the Sand didn't buy it. Didn't buy anything from Hashirama. They said, we already have one. We don't need one. You got to pay us to agree to this deal or whatever.
It was coming different. They should have bought another one. I was gonna make a joke about how they defend their Kages, but it's joke for a different time. We at the end of the pot. Freedom, do you do outros or how's this looking?
Dude, my volume just started going down out of nowhere. I couldn't hear nothing y'all said.
No,
What happened?
no. I say you do outros or how's it looking?
Oh yeah, I got you. But Bar, how you feel about Mr. Cool Rob and Gucci, bro? I just had to ask you that before we get off.
Boy, all my days, dog. I have, bro. I think first things first, the robbery in itself was huge news. Then Gucci telling was like a different little second
Bro, do you know
the
that they've been
second
talking
playing
about this
power
since
type thing.
January though?
Yeah, nah, but
It's
I
been a
didn't
rumor
think
since
Gucci would
January.
tell. Yeah, this been like Sadie Nash then exposed it a long time
Mm-hmm.
ago. I just didn't. Well, first things first, I was surprised that Pooh was still free, but also I didn't think Gucci would be the person to put him behind bars. This is big Gucci we're talking about, so
Bro,
I
this is
don't
the
know.
same Gucci man that told on Jeezy. I don't know why everybody's so like surprised. When he got
Gucci man ain't telling
when
no damn Jeezy.
yes he did. When Jeezy ran in his house, he said it on the news. He was like, it was Jeezy. I could send you the news thing. But yeah, he definitely said Jeezy's name, bro.
I ain't buying
Maybe
that,
not to
dog.
the police, but he said it on the news, bro. When they had when it was interviewing him after everything went down, he got himself out of prison.
That ain't telling it. Telling to the media and telling to the police two separate things.
No, it's not. Because this is like, bro, you already said it on national television. He
No,
told
but yeah,
everybody.
the whole situation was just crazy, dog. Pooh actually got to be one of the craziest people I ever heard of. I don't know if you know the situation, Rising, but just know how stupid this person got to be. He tried to rob his label manager with an ankle bracelet on.
Not the manager, the owner,
The owner. My bad.
the label head, bro, and his security. And one of them was an off duty police officer, and he had an ankle monitor on, and there was cameras. I keep on going.
Yeah, like
Oh man.
boy. Yeah,
Bro, I saw that. Like I heard the
it's
rumor
just
not long ago that it was like all of the news. I was like, oh, this is true.
yeah, yeah. We heard the rumors, and we just didn't necessarily think it'll come to this. And I don't know. I don't know.
Like my boy Barr says, "Oh my days." That's exactly what I said when it came on the news. I was like, "Oh my days."
100%, 100%,
I was flabbergasted. Oh man,
100%.
but no. Outro. Thank you for everybody for joining us and all that good stuff. I see you guys didn't hit that like button. I'm not even going to really stretch out on that right now, but yeah. Thank you. What's his name? Mike95555 for being a member for almost a year. That's
Yeah,
truly
shout out my
appreciated.
guy.
And Antonio Bookman 9767 for the super chat. We appreciate y'all and all the support that we've been over the years. We'll catch y'all on the next podcast. Most likely we'll have Black on that one. Hey boy, you shut up. All right, we'll catch y'all later. Be easy.
All right, y'all.